Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the TopstepTV Takeover with myself, Rips, and of course, Coach Dakota. Coach, how you doing this morning?
It is too early for this crap, man.
Did you get much sleep
Rips,
last night?
yeah. Did you see those Discord messages I sent you, Rips? I sent him I sent Rips a freaking screenshot of how my night was. I went and watched Dune 2. That wasn't a good that was not a good decision. I leave all my bad decisions in my real life rather than in my trading. I I thought I booked the movie. If you guys are up for a quick and a good start of a what do you call it? Story time in the morning. Tuesday here in Utah, it's movie night. Movie tickets are only $5. So I booked the tickets. I showed up, me and a few girls, and they're up in Salt Lake, so it's about a 30-minute drive for me. And we went to go in, and it seems like instead of the 10:30 p.m. tickets, I bought the 10:30 a.m. tickets.
Whoa.
And so they're like, "Oh, that's okay. Well, you'll just catch the next one, which wasn't till 11. It's a really long movie. Movie didn't get out till like 1 a.m. So what I sent you, Rips, was me driving back home, getting home at 3 a.m. for me in Utah, and then my alarm clock going off at 6 a.m. So that was my night.
Sounds like a blast. Sounds like how many hours of sleep did you actually get tonight or last night?
Probably about 2.5, and then
Wow.
me and you hooked up right before stream, and I showed you, of course. I'm doing shots of this wonderful Dayquil followed up by a bucked up chaser. So
Wow.
yeah,
Hats
well,
up. That's some good stuff right there.
we're doing it this morning. How are you, Rips? You had a stream before. You're a really early bird.
Oh, yeah.
From my
Well, I
understanding.
usually start my stream over here. Hold on, let me turn up my mic. There we go. I usually start my stream over on the Market Clubhouse YouTube channel. I usually start that stream at 8 a.m. Eastern time, and I usually stream over there for about an hour or 2 hours, depending on whatever the day brings us. And today was a very short stream because we had to skitter on over here to the TopstepTV YouTube channel because we're doing the takeover today. So it was a very short-lived stream. And in fact, I did take some trades over here, my total P&L on the day. You can see right up there is $110 in the negative. I did take some scalps. I was actually down $1,500 at one point. So I am happy to make that recovery on this very, very choppy market. I see that you have your tick chart up. What are you seeing in the NQ so far over here?
Okay, let's look at the market for the first time. I haven't looked at the market yet. I've actually started. I'm a statistics guy, Rips, and I've started this new theory, and the theory is the Nasdaq just goes up and to the right, and you just buy the market. I think that's as easy as it gets, right?
Just buy the
Just
dip, right? Don't trip, buy the dip.
just buy. If you have any hesitation, just buy it. I don't know. This market is one heck of a bull rally. Last night, or not last night, yesterday during Power Hour, everyone probably was seeing me here in the YouTube chat. Market was selling off, and I was buying it as it was going down. And I didn't play it exactly. My execution was a little bit off, but the trade going into the end of day bounce was beautiful. The rally yesterday to close the market came in a little bit late, so I didn't take advantage of the entire move. It was a huge rally for the last, 15, 10 minutes of the day. I think we just went over 100 points. I didn't catch the full move. As you guys can see, Top Steps for 100% transparency. You guys had the risk managers in the background, and everyone's like, hey, is Dakota flat? And they're like, yeah, Dakota's flat. I'm like, yeah, you guys know exactly what's going on. So I can't hide anything from you. And it was in my live account. I'm like, hey, if I lose money, I lose money. And then I'm over here in the background like, oh, God, please don't tell anybody I'm on a drawdown. I'm on a drawdown. And then the market starts to rally. I'm like, okay, tell everyone. Where are we at? So, yeah, we definitely have 100% transparency, which I think you guys heard it yesterday from D. There's additional pressure being in the spotlight. I felt it. I know a lot of other traders have felt it. We see, I don't know. There's definitely going to be a name for the traders. Maybe it's a shooting star or something, right? Where we have these traders, they make a whole bunch of money really quick, and then they become like number 1, number 2 on the top 5 in the leaderboard. And then for the coming week or two, we slowly watch that account balance trindle down.
I think it'd be a supernova, right? Don't supernovas burn out pretty quickly?
I think so. Do they get like, yeah, there we go, McNasty supernovas?
Yeah, like
really bright, really
supernova.
fast, and then poof, right? We've seen that a few times. It's very volatile. You get up there at the top, and then it starts to bring some pressure. So there's that. I finished yesterday up $3,300 in my live account. So even though we're not going to be having that fun yesterday's best or any of those amazing statistics, but from my knowledge, 3,300 in the live account from yesterday. My total is about 57,000. So wherever I put that, we're going to find out when the team comes back.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. So for you folks out there in chat, you should know that the Topstep team is not going to be back until next week. So your support requests will probably be a little bit lagged. Getting your accounts from combines to XFAs might be a little bit lagged. It is their annual trip, so they are all having a good time in Vegas. But Dakota and I are going to be manning the ship here today, tomorrow, and on Friday. And speaking of Friday, by the way, we have some very good news coming out on Friday in the way of the markets. We do have the NFP print that's going to be coming out on Friday. It's going to be very, very extreme here. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited about it. I'm super, super excited about it, to be honest. And I do think that it's going to be one of those days where it can be a wild day. It could be a wild day, or it can be it could be one of those days that just kind of takes your breath away. So for some reason, my mic continually is going down here. So I have to work on this. Dakota, if you don't mind just manning the ship while I figure out why my mic keeps turning itself down.
Yeah, so I see some people. Yes, you guys have me in RIPS for the rest of the week. So I think RIPS told me before they gave Topstep crew gave RIPS maybe some guidelines to follow, or maybe let's do it this way. And they're in Vegas, so they could just stay down there and enjoy their time. We'll do well, this is going to be a little bit informal. RIPS will be able to provide the data releases. I'm here for just to hang out. Like I said, I'm a trader first. I'm going to be trading in my live account. And so real trading's boring. If you see me place a trade, it's going to be 100% in my live account, and it's going to be an actual trade that I'm going to be taking. So bear with me, because you might not see a single trade. Last night during my slow markets class, I didn't even have a trade. And speaking about slow markets, I wanted to ask you a question, Rips.
Talk to me. And I think, by the way, we did fix the mic here, so it should be good to go now.
You sound a lot better. You had another overnight trade the other day. Is that right?
That is correct.
How was that? Talk me through the mindset of what you were thinking. I know I've been pushing the overnight trades, the slow market concepts, or whatever you guys want to call it, but you could have some very small position size with huge profits. I mean huge profits. I mean comparative, right? It's all comparative. But would you be willing to walk me through that? Because I'm curious on what you were thinking. I just know I woke up and everyone was telling me, hey, RIPS held a 3 contract overnight short, and he made like a bunch of money. So I was curious about that.
Hold on one second here, making sure my audio is still good. Yeah. So on that trade specifically, it was an overnight trade, and I talked through it on my stream exactly what I was looking for.
I think I lost your audio.
Oh, did we? Am I completely dead? Can you folks hear me out there? Uh-oh. Now I think my audio is completely out. Wait, no. So Dakota might be the only person that can't hear me.
But I can't.
Okay. Well, that might be an issue here. Let me see.
Everyone can hear you. I can't.
Let me try this here. Is that better? Can you hear me?
Yep, now I can hear you.
Okay,
we're good
great.
there.
Loud and clear. Sweet. We're trying to get there. And now it's turning my audio back down. Well, yeah, we're gonna have some issues here on this very first stream, and it's just gonna be the way that this works out. So unfortunately, my audio will be a little bit lower here. I don't know why this happens. It's probably some kind of Windows issue, but it's going to continually turn me down here as much as I want to change that. I guess I could try adding in a filter over here, but yeah, I mean, we'll just run with this. But yeah, I mean, it was a crazy overnight trade, and yeah, go ahead and talk about something because the audio is just continually going to mute me more and more. So
okay,
I'll get to that in a minute here.
Let's answer some of the question. Where's Dobie? Yes, I believe he's down there in Vegas. So I was prepared to go to Vegas as well. So I should be in Vegas right now, but instead I'm here with you guys. So yeah, maybe I should just go in and put my Venmo in the chat. You guys could all pay me for my time because you appreciate me so much. Yeah, let's talk about the markets. I'm going to start doing my morning analysis. I am a slow markets trader. I have my slow markets class in the evening. And I don't trade the New York session very much. This is going to be the first time I've traded the New York session early in the morning during the open. We are, 18 minutes away from the New York session. So let me do some analysis. I usually, there's John Hoag's in the chat. So I usually trade on a 5-minute chart when I am trading the New York session. And you guys could see behind me or to the side of me that this is a 5-minute chart on the NASDAQ. I trade the 5-minute on the NASDAQ. I will hop over here into crude oil as well. And then finally, I also trade the Nikkei. I haven't really traded the Nikkei. However, we just started to break new all-time highs. The Nikkei, ticker symbol NKD here, we are reaching all-time highs. I might place a trade for the Nikkei. So if you guys see that, I'll go through and I will talk about it. But I'm going to focus on the NASDAQ more. However, if I do see a trade set up on the Nikkei, oil, or one of these other markets, I'm going to switch to it and I'm going to be trading it. Dakota, it sounds like I've been smoking Eddie's Bog. Well, like I said, I have my NyQuil. I've been taking shots of NyQuil or DayQuil, followed by a chaser of energy drink. So yeah, not so much. Let me see. I'm looking at the markets, guys. So bear with me. Like I said, this is not scripted, and I'm a trader first. So everything that I say is going to be just very informal, and it's going to be the way that I think about the market. So almost like talking out loud, right? Thinking out loud. So let's look at a 60-minute chart. So here's the 60-minute chart on the NASDAQ. And we had this huge sell-off, right? And there's a lot of traders who were talking about, why was I buying going into this sell-off? Well, to be honest, I like to keep things really super simple. If you guys join my slow markets class, my goal in my own personal trading and the way I have been trading is the more I could simplify my trading, the less decisions I need to make as a trader. And therefore, the less decisions, then the less mistakes I'll make. And the easier it is for, number one, me to manage my risk. So back on February 29th, we did have a lot of buyers come in around this 850. It's a big zone, right? Nothing's perfect. It's a zone between 826 to about 880. Like, this is a decent size zone. And when we started to sell off in here midday, I was building a position up going into the last 30 minutes of power hour. And as you can see, it worked out really well. I didn't manage it the best, which with the beautiful gift of hindsight, and after the markets moved, then yeah, it's easier to go back and say, I should have done this, should have done that. However, it's spilt milk, right? So we had this big sell-off. We did get a bounce. And to be honest, this was a lot bigger bounce than I was expecting personally. I was thinking maybe we could bounce and show some, sellers. It looks like we kind of had some sellers try and take this lower. The first thing I'm looking at is we do have a lot of resistance in this zone. So we're kind of in a zone where we could see a lot of sellers step in. We are already up. What are we up? Just over almost 0.6% since we opened up at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. But I don't want to be a buyer right now because we are in this zone where sellers can come in and bring this market lower because we have some resistance. And these resistance I'm just highlighting with bubbles. I mean, this is support, right? But this is more of one of those decision zones, support resistance level, whatever you call this. We're in an area where if we are going to reverse, this area would make sense, right? So I'm not really looking for longs right now, especially after this nice rally up, because there's going to be plenty of people that's going to be looking at this as a pullback. I do know that there's some Fibonacci traders here in the chat. Let me see if I could pull a Fibonacci. It's been a while since I traded Fibonacci's. Just a quick eyeball. That is probably in play, right around 50%. If you guys, maybe if you want to throw in the chat what you guys are looking at in the NASDAQ, because I'm curious. I do know we have the tilt up at the very top here, but what do you guys use? What are you looking at for the NASDAQ? Is this just a pullback for a continuation to the downside, or is this a just buy the dip and we're going to continue to go up? FedPal testifies in 45 minutes. Well, maybe we're just going to wait until the Papa Pal says something. You're looking at Crude. Okay, let's see. We got a few people hopping over into Crude. Crude's ripping. Crude's rallying up. This is 60-minute. I'm going to drop down to a 5-minute. Buy the dip, in your opinion? Everyone's saying buy the dip. Everyone, buy the dip NASDAQ. I mean, that's been the story, right? Is every time we've had a sell-off, we've just been buying the dip. Everyone who is wanting a continuation to the downside has been not doing so well, I believe. But here's crude oil. We are long and strong here in crude. We just broke out of yesterday's resistance, which you guys could see highlighted here. We just broke out of this key resistance. If I was watching, that could have been a good breakout trade. I'm actually getting a little bit of a FOMO feeling because I don't want to miss out. Everybody who joins my slow markets class knows that I'm a bull crude oil, and I do believe we could get to $80 a barrel and hold above it. We did try it at the beginning of March. However, we did fail to hold above $80 a barrel, and it looks like we might try and push up there tonight or today. Sorry, not tonight. I'm used to slow markets. Shoulder tap or top quiz today? You know what? Maybe we'll have shoulder tap tomorrow. Maybe I could do shoulder tap.
Yeah, there's definitely.
I got some fun stuff planned out for you guys. Like I said, I'm a trader first. Trading can be boring, so I have some fun stuff. You guys are going to be hanging out here with myself and Rips. Michael, you're long at 56.
Can you hear me, by the way, now, Dakota? Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Yeah, you sound good.
Yeah, something's going on with my audio where it's automatically turning down my audio here. So I'm not really sure what's going on here. Let's see here. This might fix it, actually. All right. Let's see if that solves things. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, great. And everybody out there can still hear me as well. I think that is the final fix there. All right, yeah, so just to reiterate what Coach Dakota was talking about here, let's go over to my trading view screen here for a hot minute. We are running into my top side level here at 18,097.5. This level up here has been very, very interesting because, we've been running into this, and this is kind of where the volume is kind of subsiding as we get up here, right? And the idea is that we want to see if we can get a break and a retest of this level to get this to skitter onto the top side to 18,118.5. Now, if we're looking at the broader picture here in the market and we're looking over back here, well, we can see that we have this V-shaped recovery that's in progress right now. And what I'd really like to see is the volume reach back up to this area of the profile that we were watching yesterday, which is this whole block of orders, this whole block of volume that we had yesterday. Basically from 118 ranges all the way up to 195 quarters. Now, we did have some news that came out earlier today. It was the ADP employment read, but it's not the final thing that we're looking for on Friday, which is the NFP print. That print is going to be coming out much later. That's going to be on Friday, of course. So we did get the employment change numbers. They actually came in a little bit in line, but I think it was about 10,000 off the mark here. I can look into what I had here from my notes. But we had that, but also in tandem of that being released, we also had Powell's testimony being released. And initially, the markets did not like that. It kind of slammed to the downside there, and then it came back up to the upside, right? And so we've been kind of rallying since that news came out. And so if we know that there's no surprises in Powell's testimony today, except for possibly some surprises and curveballs in the Q&A, we can expect that this market will continue this trend. And we have the opening coming in about 8 short minutes. I'm going to be trading a Topstep combine. I'm going to have my screen shared live, so it's going to look just like this. You're going to see my Ninja Trader and all my executions. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to trade this live. We're going to see if we can get any trades here on the opening print, see how that works out. I think Coach Dakota, while I'm trading, will probably be talking about what he sees in the market as well, but I'll keep my screen up so you can watch my trades. As far as news goes, we do have a print coming out at 10 a.m. It's going to be the JOLTS jobs opening. That's going to be out at 10 a.m. Eastern time, 9 a.m. Central time. So you want to be watching out for that. That's going to increase the volatility here. But so far, the market is catching a bid. We're getting a V-shaped recovery, and we're seeing everything kind of being negated from yesterday's flush. So we'll have to see if we can be auctioning above that. The big trigger point that I'm looking for in the NQ specifically is price action above 18,195 quarters. So that's what I'm looking for. Dakota, I'll let you go back to your screen here so you can talk about what you're seeing possibly in Crude and the S&Ps and other markets that you like to look at there.
Yeah, so I'm trying to play devil's advocate because I am a permanent bull, a perma bull, whatever you want to call it. What I'm looking at is we do have some resistance here that was not tested. This is a 5-minute chart. It's really zoomed out, but you guys could see the idea. This is an area that was not tested yesterday. Support becomes resistance, and you can see when we broke through, we just sold off. Like there's no looking back once we broke through that level. And so, yeah, like I said, I'm just really, really hesitant to get into a trade because I don't want to be buying when we're so close to resistance levels. We're already up, a fair bit amount today. Yeah, anything can happen, but look at this rally off the bottom. You guys could see this. Like that was over 100-point rally, really quick to the end of the day, and the entire overnight session has just been since almost London. We've just been rally. So maybe there's just some fear on my side that we're going to be opening up. When we do open up, I don't trade the open very often. We have 7 minutes until the open. That there's going to be a lot of stocks that are gapping up, right? Like a lot. Maybe just correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not an open market open, so we can definitely see some type of a pullback and test maybe back down towards this once again, this $18,000 level. It's a key psychological level. We were chopping around that last week, and maybe until something comes into this market and says, we're really bullish. Maybe Powell says something to push us up or push us down. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe we just chop around 18,000. And so if anything, maybe resistance support turns into resistance and we get some push down to the downside, and then maybe look to go long around this $18,000 level. I'm not sure. I'm going to watch. How's my mic sound to you, Rips?
You sound fantastic, by the way. Okay, I think that we finally solved the audio issues here. If the audio sounds good for everybody out there in YouTube land in the chat, go ahead and drop a W in chat. I know folks in Discord are having a little bit of issues here. We're also going to be trying to get Deanna here live on the stream. If the audio is good, just drop a W there in the chat. Would appreciate some feedback there.
Awesome. We got a lot of W's in there. Like I said, big shout out to you, Rips. Like I said, I could not do what Rips is doing. He's running the show. It's a Rips show, and I'm just a co-host. I'm just a pilot sitting back, relaxing. Rips is doing everything. So big shout out to Rips.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Dakota.
I have this competition going, slow markets versus fast markets, where I'm trying to get more viewers and more likes in my slow market show compared to this fast markets. But hands down, I have to give it to I do not have anything bad to say with RIPS holding this production down. We're holding down the show, and whenever we do that, it's like I said, it's informal, it's raw, it's transparent, and we're here for you guys to have fun, to trade, and hopefully answer questions.
Definitely. I do want you folks to know in chat today, I see there's 3,000 of you folks in there. If you could please do me a favor, if you could go ahead and smash that lucky like button right down there at the bottom. We do have the open coming in about 3.5 minutes here. So if you do hit that like button, I don't make the promises here, but I have heard that the market makers are watching whoever's clicking that like button. And if you do click that like button, it's almost a guarantee. It's not an actual guarantee, but almost a guarantee that you will have a green day today. I don't make the rules. This is just what I read. It's on the secret market maker channels today. So you have to hit that lucky like button today. Make sure you are subscribed to the stream too as well. And if you don't hit that lucky like button, I can't promise that you're going to have a green day. And if you do hit it, I can't also make that promise. But let's be honest here. It's probably better that you're hitting that like button.
Yeah, then you could send us a piece of it. Junior Mafia in the chat. Dakota, you don't get more likes because you never take one single trade. Well, Junior, I'm a real trader, and welcome to the real traders reality. It's I look at higher time frames. And guess what? That's the reality when you're not over trading. Is sometimes you just don't take trades. Before the chat, this is one thing that Rips was telling me before. It was like, man, I'm curious how many trolls are we getting in the chat? Like, how is this going to be? I'm like, oh, I'm excited. I love it. I love the controversy. I love the back and forth when traders talk crap, when traders give their side of the opinion. I 100% love it because that's what we're here. Because without that, then to me there's no constructive conversation, or maybe it's a lot more constructive. Because I love to hear different opinions. Like, you know what, if you feel like I'm doing something this way or that way, if we have that, then yeah, there's a constructive way to go about it. And then there's just the BS trolls that we could kick out. But yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. We have a lot of new traders. And as a new trader, if you do have questions, or if you're confused, or if you're really concerned about something, let us know. Because 100%, yes, I did not trade. And you guys heard on, I think, like Monday or Tuesday, where I did not move. I did not place a trade. It was one of those days. I've been feeling a little crappy, to be honest. Last night, I didn't even place a trade either. The only trades I did place was like yesterday during the New York session close, and it's already Wednesday. So honestly, pretty much one trade this whole week for me, and I'm up $3,300. So like I said, real trading is boring as heck. That's the reality of it. It's not for entertainment purposes. It's to help traders learn the right way to trade. Hopefully, show you guys and give you guys guidance how to become consistent, how real trading looks. And that's the reality, right? Hey,
by the way, Dakota, we do have 40 seconds here until the market opens. So let's be prepared for this opening bell. I don't have a horses in the gate sound effect. So I think we'll just go with a wildcat here. Since the markets are going to be opening in 30 seconds. Be prepared, everybody. I'm going to be trading the NQ. What you see on my screen right over here is the NQ March contracts. It's what I'm going to be trading here off the open. I'm probably going to be looking for a long, depending on the order flow today. I'm going to be keeping an eye out here on the Magnificent 7, of course. It's going to be very, very fast-paced. Do not copy any of my trades. Please, please, please do not copy any of my trades. There's a YouTube lag, and you shouldn't be copying anybody's trades. But I'm going to be giving you the feedback as I'm going through these trades. 5 seconds here until the open. Good luck, everybody. Let's have a fantastic trading day together here.
Hey, did they give you access to the house account?
They did, and I'm actually going all in on it right now. I am long right now, the NQ. We had a big perk up here to the top side. A lot of orders blowing up here to the top side. We are hitting our level of 118.5, although it is going to be very, very volatile here. I'm going to see if I can add on a second lot as long as we're hanging above this 18,097 halves level. If we are strong above that level, I will look to add into that a second lot here, which I'm doing right now. 2 lots on, Looking for this to trade above 118 halves here, and that target would be 147.75 to the top side here. So I want to see if we can be strong through these 118 halves to the top side. This could be the topping area of the market as well. We are seeing Apple kind of trending down here. We are seeing S&Ps pull back just a touch. So just trying to time this appropriately here. If we get that break above 18s, I'm gunning for that here. If we get that break above 18s, we can be pretty strong here off this open. So there we are, testing these 118s with a little bit of strength. Can we get that push through the top side? There we go. Very, very nice resolution to the top side there. Trying to cover 2 contracts, covered 2 there on the offer, running our other 2 and stopped out there. So that's going to put us up on the day over here. We were sitting down $110 to start our day. That's going to put us up $421 there in the green. Fast trading here, quick scalps here off the open. Now I'm going to take my hands off and leave it over to Dakota over here.
Hands off for me. I'm looking at this to turn into resistance. I'm a bear. Over here on the 5-minute candlestick, over here on the 5-minute chart, you can see I have this resistance marked, and I'm just watching. I'm seeing if this could turn into resistance. I don't trade the New York session open, like I said before, and so maybe it's just kind of a hands off. Like let's just watch how this plays out. Even though I don't trade it, I'm going to be trading exactly how I always do every single market. Regardless of time of day. Very simple, very basic technical analysis. And it looks like we are, I don't know. This is opening range, right? Where's Hogue at when we need him?
I think Hogue's in chat. Well, he was taking off. So if you're listening there, Hogue, please have a safe flight. Get there safely and enjoy your travels there.
Yeah, Brooksy.
Hey, Broski.
Brookie says, 10 minutes ago, I'm a perma bull. Now I'm a bear. Yeah, that's the reality of trading, right? I'm a perma bull, but I'm bearish right now. I would look for, like, whatever the market sells off, I get super excited to buy dips. But then when we rally, I'm like, there could be an opportunity to just take a short. However, my short trades, I'm typically less aggressive. I take a lot less short trades than I do long trades. So I would say the majority of my trades are to the long side. Most of the money that I do make is to the long side. There's nothing wrong with being a bear and a bull sometimes. Permanent bull over the long run. Short term, it looks like I'm bearish right now, just because you can see my chart over on the left hand side. This is the area of resistance. Right before the New York session, I'm like, this is the area, and these are the levels that I'm looking. If the market starts to reject, then I could look for the market to turn around and come back down towards the $18,000 level. But I'm a much better bull than I am a bear, and I wouldn't be surprised if most of my bearish signals are just complete trash. But we'll watch it. We'll watch this. So far right now, we had this really ugly looking wick on the 5-minute chart. Let's just watch it. Like I said, I'm a slow markets trader. I look at these higher time frames for the most part, and then I do take some scalps. I mean, if I hold a trade for an hour, is it a scalp? And then I'm also looking at these other markets. Like I said, I trade crude oil. I'm a big crude oil trader, and we're continuing to push on crude as well. I'm liking that $80 a barrel mark. Like I said, $80 a barrel, it's a key level that I've been looking at. However, we do have an area that is kind of interesting, and this is around 79.80. That if we do break above 79.80, we could just push through and continue to break above $80 a barrel. If not, maybe this 79.80 turns into resistance on oil. So I have a few things that I'm watching: crude oil, NASDAQ, and the Japanese market. Hopping back over to the NASDAQ again, we are getting some sellers.
Yeah, we are getting sellers. I'm short 2 contracts right now in the NAS because we did reject off of that high point here in the S&Ps, and I'm using that to kind of guide my trades here. I do have 2 lots short in the NASI right now, looking for these 90s to give out, watching for this flush down into about that 80 level. I want to see on a weak bounce if I can add into this. Adding in 2 more contracts, looking for this sweep low at these 80s. And looking to cover, there's a cover of 2 and 1. looking for one more to come out here. So yeah, very, very nice trade for me there. Getting that short, going to move my stop back up here so we can get as much profit as we can on this trade. Move my stop very, very closely here on that final lot. So that's going to put us up. We were sitting up $421 on the day. That will bring our total up to $769 on the day.
Nice.
Back to you, Dakota.
They can't copy you. You said they can't copy you. Can I? I mean, that was a great trade, Rips. I loved it. Like I said, I'm bearish at this zone, and you know, you're the one that took advantage of that move when we showed this resistance, and sure enough, we got that resistance and we had that nice push to the downside, and you took advantage of it and you made money, and I'm over here, you know, just.
Well, it's a good duality that we have here on stream between the fast markets player, myself, and the slow markets player, and that's you, buddy. But yeah, so if you folks are wondering when I'm in a trade, if Dakota's talking, I don't want to be a rude host. I want to make sure that Dakota gets his words out. Right above me, you can see it says flat and then it says entry. If I'm in a trade, if it turns red where it says flat, that means I'm short. If it's green, it means I'm long. And entry will show you my average entry price on these trades. For instance, if we're looking to short this down into the 70s per chance, you can see I'm one contract short right now, looking for this to flush down below 80 into the 70s here. Watching for this flush right below the 80s for a potential cover. Seeing if we can get this. I am my average is 83. There we go. Nice cover there, and bringing our total up from 769 to 944 bucks there on one single contract.
Oh my gosh, man!
We are tagging this market. We were in the pocket yesterday, Dakota. I don't know if you tuned in yesterday when I was on Fast Markets, but we were in the pocket. Overall, said and done, including combines, I did take home about $20,000 yesterday, and I believe 13,000 of that was in my XFA accounts there.
Yeah, I mean, wow, that's beautiful. What are you up now? Where is it? Where you at? Over 944. Amazing. I'm one of those guys that I'll say, you know, this is bearish. You know, it looks like we're going to be going short. My target might be 18,000. And then I don't even take advantage of it. Like I said, it's a contrast. I don't trade the New York Session Open. And when I do place a trade, it's going to be with my live account here. So yeah, there's that, right? So if I don't feel confident, if I don't feel like I'm seeing what I want, I mean, especially the New York Session Open, the first 5-10 minutes, to me, I'm like, you know what? I don't feel comfortable enough doing it. So I'm going to, as the famous D likes to say, put my hands on my butt, or what is that? What do you say?
Speaking of D is actually in the green room right now. Do you see D in the green room? Oh, I hear her too. I'm going to get D over here. Give me just a moment here, Dakota, if you don't mind just chatting away for a moment here.
Yeah. As we're waiting, I'm still just sitting on my hands. Hands on my butt. Where do we got? Good thing we got mods in this chat. We still have moderators, guys. It's very informal. I don't watch what I say for the most time. I just that's just the way I am. I try everything I do and I say, I try and just keep it PG. We are continuing to break down. Let me show you what this looks like on the 100 tick, because I'm also looking at a 100 tick chart, and this 100 tick is not for a faint of heart. And you guys could see this typically during times of more volatility. 100 tick could be a little bit more clear for me. So sure enough, we are getting these lower highs and these lower lows. And sometimes I will just sit here and watch the 100 tick, because it granulizes it a lot more, because so much is happening. This is the New York Session Open. And, you know, maybe this is an example, right? If we do break above this pivot, right, we just did, we could have maybe a decent push to the upside. And so sometimes I will look for reversals on this. As you can see, sometimes it's a lot more clear. And that's what it takes, right? You guys hear everybody talking all the time about the Google Maps view. You know, are zoomed out, you get a big picture, and the more you zoom in, sometimes the more clear it gets. And this is an example, right? We just broke out, we're consolidating, and you know, odds are, so if we're talking about chances, if we do break above this, you know, 96, then maybe we'll see 100 again. And so sometimes, like I said, just sometimes I will take quick scalps to get in at the break above, say, 96, and look for it to get to 100, and look for these little, 5 to 10 point scalps on these smaller time frames. I haven't been doing that much because it's been a while since I've traded that. I used to call that trading for income, but looks like we have D. D is in the house.
Can we get a quick audio check on you, D? I want to see if the folks out here in YouTube chat can hear you.
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
You sound great on my end, D, and it's so great to see you. I'm so happy that we were able to get you in here. If there's another positioning on the screen where I can place you, please let me know. Where can we?
You know what? I always struggle with that on my own streams. It's like, where do you place yourself? Sometimes I place myself in the middle, and then sometimes when we have a trending market downwards, then that kind of gets in the way. It's an eternal battle of where do you place yourself on the streaming screen.
Well, you look wonderful, D. I gotta say, you look wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us here on this special RIPS takeover and Dakota takeover, and now D takeover here. So it's so wonderful to have you in here. If we can drop some W's in the chat here for welcoming D. D is an amazing trader. Are you looking at anything so far, D? Have you taken any trades today?
Yeah, I've done DAX in the morning on my private account because we cannot do Eurex just yet on Topstep. I am looking at crude oil short potentially because we do have the average session high at 79.66, and it seems to have staggered a little bit, so it's kind of having trouble breaking through that level. We do have a newly formed supply higher up next to that big round number of 80, but it's actually slightly lower at 79.93. That's where the market shift kind of happened. But it does seem like for now it's kind of staggering around this average session high. So I might have a short. I mean, I would prefer if it did hit that 80 number and then goes into a failed auction. That would definitely be something for a little bit later on. So for now, I'm just observing, formulating my hypos. If we fall away from here and I don't manage to catch it, I don't really want to chase it much. So my next area of interest would be the value high from yesterday, which is 78.70. So as always, I'm focusing on crude oil for this session. So those are a couple of my levels that I'm looking at. So yeah, we're just going to stay patient. Similar to Dakota, I don't do like that much trading, and I certainly dislike doing the initial balance trading because it's not that conducive to the style that I like to trade. So yeah, let's kind of sit and wait. We also have the inventories report in about 45 minutes. So that can put a wrench in the works. So I'm probably going to be sitting on my hands until that blows over, to be honest.
Yeah, as D said, coming out at 10:30 Eastern time, 9:30 Central time, we do have the crude oil, gasoline, distillate inventories that are going to be out that will give a lot of volatility to the products that D is talking about here, crude. That's going to give some volatility to that, so we will see that later on. Keep in mind, again, if you traders are just joining us now, this is the takeover that we're doing for TopstepTV. We're going to be doing this on Wednesday today, Thursday, and Friday. Today, we do have two important pieces of news that are going to be coming out. We have at 10 a.m. the January JOLTS job openings, the read from January, as well as we have Jerome Powell giving testimony before the House Financial Services Committee. The testimony was already released to the public early, but there is going to be some interesting Q&A from the legislators that can definitely shake up some volatility. So the two volatility events that we're looking for at 10 a.m., Jerome Powell and the JOLTS job openings, and then 30 minutes later, for you crude traders out there like D, there's going to be some interesting shakeup with the inventories that are out right there at 10:30. Anything that you would be looking to trade before those inventories come out at all, D, after this initial balance forms?
We'll see. It depends whether we extend the initial balance or not. So like I said, if we get that failed auction short, or even an inkling of the auction failing around 79.93, I might be interested in that. But generally, I'm not too keen on doing anything before the inventories because they're waiting for the number to come out. So on a lot of the Wednesdays, there's not going to be that much happening. They might like run it up in one direction and then nothing. And then the inventories come out and then we have storm in a teacup or a trend. And then things become a little bit muddled for about half an hour. After that, I usually look for my setup. Wednesdays are not the most favorite days of mine to trade because over the last few years, the inventories report was a bit of a storm in the teacup that just goes up, down, and then nothing. So because of that, you have to be a little bit careful. Crude oil is not one to do trending days too often on inventories day. So usually if I get some kind of a failed auction or maybe a neutral day type, so that means the first hour trading range extending to both sides of that, to both sides of the initial balance, which is the first hour of trading range. Then you might have a setup. Other than that, the only time I see trending days is when the move is like the release is actually so far out. The analysts just get it spectacularly wrong, and then the market has to reprice itself. So that's the only time we're going to see a trending day. So we had something like that, I think, a couple of weeks ago when they were expecting like, I think it was like 3 million build, and it was 12 million. It's like, how do you get it that wrong?
That's a wild outlier print.
Yeah. So I'm going to wait and see to get that data, and then we'll work with some extra information to see exactly what they want to do. Not that the release actually impacts the direction that much, so I have to say that. A lot of the times the release would come out as build, which should be bearish, right? And yet it's perceived as a positive because they have reserves, right? And then they just take it into a mad uptrend, and people are like, what, why? It's like, because it's the focus is perceived as a good thing. So it's all about the focus. So we'll see how this plays out. We had some words from Putin yesterday about wanting to keep oil prices stable. That will lend itself to establishing a range yet again. So we'll see. So far, just observing and waiting for the data.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen this. Sorry, Rip.
No, go ahead, Dakota, please.
This is my crude oil inventory indicator. This is how I analyze my crude oil inventory. Just I keep this on my desk whenever news comes out or when I'm trading crude oil.
And you have your crude oil inventory on your front lawn, right?
Exactly. A lot of people don't know this. I used to work in the coal mines. I don't know if you ever believe that. That was one of my first jobs out of high school, is working in the coal mines. I'm here in Utah. We have a lot of coal mines. Are you being serious?
Because I can never tell with you.
Yes, I am being serious. I'd go underground. My face was covered in just coal. I'd go and hit the showers. I mean, that was a tough way to make a living.
Reminds me of that scene in Zoolander.
Oh, come on. Man, those are some very rough people. Every other word is a cuss word, and to be honest, it's people who cuss the most that I found are typically the ones that are the most honest working in the coal mine. It's the ones that don't cuss. I'm like, oh, all right, maybe there's something behind there. But yeah, love them. Very humble. They'd give you the shirt off the back, and I would trust them, to have my back in a fight any day. Very rough.
Definitely. So while you folks were talking about the crude stuff and coal mining, we did get the Bank of Canada talking about the rate decision. They did leave their rates unchanged at 5%, which was the expectation, of course, but they did pressure on saying that quantitative tightening should pick up. They're not looking at dropping rates too early. So if we're looking at that news just from what they're saying, it does come out pretty hawkish here. So we'll have to see if that hawkish tonality will exist throughout the rest of the day when we have the data coming out at 10 a.m. With Jerome Powell giving his speech alongside the JOLTS job opening. So right now, the NQ has just been chopping in a range. Let me go over to my trading view screen here. Oh, we lost you, D. There. Let me keep you up, D. Let me actually copy you over here so I can bring you. I'm going to bring you with me here. There we go.
There we go.
There we are. So here's the trading view screen. Bear with us, folks. This is the first time we've ever done something like this. So I appreciate everybody's patience out there. At least we're having fun doing it. But this is the NQ here on my screen. And we're all looking at it right now. But basically, yeah, this is a very tight opening range here. We are betwixt our levels of 18,071 all the way up to 18,118 and a half. So we are just kind of chopping around in this opening range here. And, this can be very, very difficult to trade. I did trade. I made $944 trading on some scalpy trades. But, this is kind of where I'd like to pump the brakes. We have that data coming out in 10 minutes. Jerome Powell is going to start speaking in 10 minutes, and I will be giving everybody the live and direct quotes that are going to be coming from the house floor. So we'll have to see how that breaks and shakes volatility here. Dakota, if we did get any kind of movement on the news here, what would bring you into a trade? And I guess the same question for you as well, D. Is there anything come this news, come this volatility that would bring either of you into a trade?
For me, no. I mean, I don't trade the news. I don't like to trade the news. I love volatility. To be honest, my theory since we started the stream is actually playing out. Like I said, have the resistance. If we can, I'm the 5-minute chart. You're showing the 5-minute chart, or can you show the 5-minute chart, Rips? I mean, essentially the same thing, right? I was looking for resistance. At that level, right? And I said, if there's resistance at this level, where do we say I'm looking, right? 18,000. So maybe if we get to the 18,000, I might be looking for a long. Until
Here, I'll go back to your screen, Dakota. There you go.
Yeah. No, let's see. Let me get to the 5-minute. I'm over here watching the 100 tick chart. So yeah, here's my chart. So you guys, this is exactly what I was looking at this morning, right? So there's the resistance over here on the left. Sure enough, support became resistance, and guess what? We're selling off. And so right now, I'm a permanent bull, and I'm going to be looking for ways to buy this market. And the first one is probably going to be around this level. We do have this as a key level. You can see where this is when we broke out. And if we do start to see some support around here, maybe that could be an opportunity to get into long. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to continue to watch this price action. We're starting to smooth out. You said we have some news, Papa Powell speaking here soon. And if we do get more volatility and we start to sell off, then we start to see some type of support here, then I could look at taking along. But until now, it's hands off. It's one of those where, like I said, I love to call out trades, and I sometimes just suck at taking them because that was a freaking beautiful trade. So there you go. You're welcome, everybody. And Rips, you took it. You made money. But until then, it's just really hands off to me. I'm also like D. I'm a crude oil trader. And to be honest, the one thing I'm actually looking at here in crude oil is we're already up pretty big. It's very hard to get in long when we've already rallied.
And we're coming into the top of swings as well with news coming in. So for me, I like to trade the aftermath of news. I think, Rips, you call it the afterglow.
The afterglow, correct.
Lovely way to put it. I do enjoy the resulting moves that might come after such news releases. Depends on what we have on the cards. But when it comes to news themselves, I'm like Dakota. I don't trade news. It's never really worked for me. In fact, some of my biggest losses that I've had was trading the news and then not being able to get out of the position. And, that just scarred me, gave me PTSD forever.
Yeah.
There was this one time when I was in a trade for I think it was like 140 lots, and it was back in the day when I was working for a prop firm.
Oh my goodness.
And it was FOMC, and I just couldn't close the trade. So it didn't matter where your stop was or anything, and I tried everything. And at one point I was up like ridiculous amounts of money, and then it all just reversed.
Wow.
And I kept trying. And by the end, I managed to get out somewhere randomly to the tune of minus $250,000.
Wow. What was the product you were trading, D?
It was a yes.
Wow.
But yeah, you just couldn't get a fill. It was, what year was that? Maybe 2015 or something like that. So it was the worst day of my life. So ever since then, I just had that in the back of my head. Over here, we're like trading, 1 lot, 2 lot, 5 lots, whatever. But when you're in with size and you're trying to close it and you see it in profit and you know that it went where it's supposed to go, and then it starts to reverse, I was just like, if I didn't have a heart attack then, I never will. So I will live forever. that was a horrible, horrible day, and a very big experience of learning what can happen in those sort of events. So for that reason, I don't trade news.
So do you think that, as traumatic as that day was, Dee, do you think that you would ever go back and trade that experience for the world? For me specifically, I've had detrimental losses in my trading career, and I'm very thankful that I've had those because I've learned so much through those. Can you speak to the same for that? Would you trade that
Absolutely.
experience for anything?
Do you know what? Even though it was so difficult on that day, and especially the next day walking into the office where everyone was like, you okay? And I was like, oh, really? But okay. So yeah, it's one of those things that I suppose you have to live through it yourself. Nobody can explain to you how that feels. Nobody can give you a lesson. Don't do that, because until you've experienced that, you just don't realize what it can do to you. So you will continuously trying to trade maybe suspect, areas that you're not supposed to be in on. So one of the things that I really learned there is if I get involved in a momentum trade that is away from any kind of a deep liquidity pool, that can harm me. So this is where I started looking at more kind of swing extremes, at least the swing extremes of the established range, where I know some stops and stop runs might be happening. And those are typically the levels that I present to you guys, on Topstep and to my market stalkers, because of because of what those levels are. It's usually where largest sellers or largest buyers have been observed, and they've left their mark. Typically, there will be more orders there. So if you are in with size, it'll be much easier to offload your position around those levels than somewhere in the middle of nowhere. That's how I got myself into trouble, because I was actually in a continuation trade. And by the time that I tried to get out, the whole dome was so thin. There was no orders, nobody there to take your order.
No liquidity.
Yeah. But at the same time, now I know what not to do, right? And as a result of that, I have bettered my strategies over the years. And this is also one of the reasons why I don't like to get involved during the initial balance in the middle of nowhere. So I always wait for the market to get to my relevant levels, and then I look for a setup. I'm not really one to chase much. And actually, when you're in with some size, you can't even do that, because you'll be just clicking buttons to try and get in with a full position forever, instead of using maybe about 5 or 6 orders to rack up the size that you need to be in on. So again, it's a skill that not everybody gets to. It is definitely not necessary. It just so happens that at the time I was working for a company that was only paying us out like 20% performance fee. This was the old prop trading model. They worked more like a cross between an asset management and a prop firm. So they had this whole 20% payout schedule to the trader. So we're very lucky these days that we can get 90% payouts. So as always, any negative experience is what you take from it. So it doesn't mean that that you're supposed to cry over it and be like, oh, I'm a really shit trader. No, you take that and you go, okay, what did I do wrong? How can I make this better?
How can we learn from it?
Exactly. Shake it off, learn from it, and carry on. That's the only way to succeed at anything, not just in trading.
This is great knowledge bombs being dropped by Miss Deanna here. This is really exquisite stuff. If you folks, if you missed it, go back and watch from the beginning here. We do, however, have this news coming out in about a minute and 15 seconds. We do want to be prepared for this. This is going to be the beginning of Jerome Powell's testimony. The JOLTS jobs opening change of what we're going to be looking at here. The JOLTS job openings, the expectation is 8.85 million. The prior read was 9.026 million. We can see currently the NASI is fading right now. I'm going to go back over to my screen in case I take a trade, and I'll bring D with us. There we are. So if I do end up taking a trade here, you folks will see it live here on my screen. This is my Ninja Trader where I am executing from, but we'll have to see here. We have about 40 seconds until the data comes out. And like I said, the expectation is 8.85 million for the JOLTS jobs. The prior read was 9.026 million. And we'll see what that print brings us, along with rate at the same time. Consequently, we'll have the Jerome Powell beginning of the testimony here. 20 seconds, folks. Good luck to everybody out there. I am flat currently, but we'll see if we can catch a nice trade on this here. Good luck to everybody out there.
Man, we are just been selling off right back down.
Yeah, your target was 18,000. We're 40 points away.
Yeah. I hope we don't get there. for my own psychology.
All right, huge drop here. Huge drop down to 18,018. 8.86 million is the JOLTS job openings change. So actually a higher print there. Wow, look, we are bouncing here at 18,018. I want to see if this is a weaker bounce that I could potentially take a trade off of here. I'm just watching the order flow. 8.86 million was the final read. The quits rate is at 2.1% versus a 2.2% prior. Waiting for the additional numbers to come out on my platform here. Waiting for the revisions as well. But JOLTS job openings at 8.86 million. So, you know, it's a very close miss. It's not a big outlier print whatsoever. Definitely, I would call that an inline print here. So no trades for me yet. Just watching here, seeing if we can get back above these 40s and seeing if we can tag this a little bit higher right now. Just a V-shaped recovery on that dip. Watching here at these 40s, seeing if we can potentially put together a scalp. We did see the S&Ps kind of bouncing right there off the VWAP. And Jerome Powell, nothing from Jerome Powell just yet. But like I said earlier, we did get early access to his testimony, so we'll have to see. I'm going to try along here, looking for a break of 50s to the top side here. We're looking for a breakout of this range, watching to see if these 41s will hold. My stop is at 34 3/4, so I'm risking about $300 on this trade. Seeing if these 41s will hold. I will add to this if these 41s do hold on this dip. And watching here, a little tight. We're not getting above these 50s, but let's see if this 40 wants to hold. And we might get stopped out here. Stopped out right there. So that's going to bring our total from 944 down to 640. So about a $300 loss on that trade. The risk to reward on that one, I would have let that thing run to probably about $600 to $900. So looking for a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 risk reward there. So we're seeing this volatility come out from this JOLTS jobs print, and the follow-up volatility will be from the Q&A that's going to be coming out from Powell for the House testimony. But right now, markets are continuing that trend to the downside here. We didn't really find any strength auctioning above those 40s. So if we come back up towards those 40s and we do show some weakness, I would potentially be looking at shorting this market. This 41 level has been a big, strong indication of strength in the past session, the pre-market session. So if we're using that as a backstop to find weakness now, we can generally take this scalp to the downside here.
Good save.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, we're just using a stop in this one. Looking to see, we did come back above those 41s and find some weakness here. So watching for a potential weak bounce into these 30s to go short into. Just watching here. Still a little bit rinsy and washy. As bad as I want to take a trade, I need to see a clear indication that we are going to be continually weak through this, and I'd be looking for that sweep below 18,018. So watching here again at these 40s. Seeing if we have weakness once again here at these 40s. And I'm going to try a short here for that weakness into those 40s. If we get above that, I will cover, but we are in a short here right now, riding this lower. I want to see a break of 25 to the downside now. Some chunky bids are stepping up, but let's see if we can short into any weak pops around these 30s. Watching here. That's a weak enough pop. I'm going to short into that, looking for a break of 25 to the downside now. Very, very nice. So we are currently up 265 on these two contracts. I want to see this breaking below those 18,018s to the downside here. Watching very closely. 25s are still a little bit weak. Watching for 18,018 for the first peel. A lot of bid support there at the 20s. I'm going to try one little peel here. Out one contract. There we go. Nice flushacito there to the downside, looking at those 18,018s. And let's see if we get this continuation below the 20s now. 20s are going to be a little bit rocky here. There's some liquidity that we snatched there at the 20s, but if we have this continuation below 18,018, we do have a target at 994 all the way to the downside there. And we are running this a little bit lower. Yeah, some big liquidity stepping up there at these 18s again. So we might end up getting stopped out on the final contract here. There we go. Wow, a lot of volatility. There's Jerome Powell. He is speaking right now. Big volatility coming into the market here. Wow, look at this. insane amounts of volatility. Let's see if we can get this flushacito back to the downside here, looking for this liquidity to be entertained. There's that liquidity I'm looking for, and I'm covering that last lot there. So that's going to pump us up. We were sitting there up $640 on the day. That's going to put us up $1,296 there on that scalp to the downside, only using 2 contracts there. And there's your target, Mr. Dakota.
Yeah, we know. I see that. I'm watching it. Whatever.
Tell us how you really feel, Dakota.
How's that for 100-point call out? Son of a...
Yeah. And you're not in it.
So
That's
there's...
probably,
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Worst thing. So if I have a level in mind and I'm not in it, that tends to hurt a lot more than getting stopped out and just being plain wrong. Don't you think, Dakota? Do you agree?
Welcome to my life, D. This happens in slow markets all the time.
Deanna is fierce this morning. I love it.
So you guys are welcome if you took advantage of that. I'll send my Venmo in Discord.
Go ahead, D. You're going to say something.
I said, just send him some money. Yeah, the details
just send a little PayPal, a little bit of Venmo. Dakota, what would you like to see? What would be the difference that could bring you into a trade if you're seeing something like that next time? We are fading very, very fast here, by the way.
To be honest, it was just the New York Session Open. I'm not going to get into the trade immediately right there. At least not for the first time. This is the first time I traded. If this same setup happened tomorrow, then I probably will take the trade. It was a great risk reward. Man, yeah, the more I look at this trade, the better it looks. Obviously, with hindsight, right? Where you guys could see, let me look over to the right. There was the resistance I was looking at. And this morning, if we can show resistance, support, when we break through support, very, very simple, very basic, right? Support becomes resistance, and sure enough, that happens, and we're just sold off from that point on. And heck yeah, let's turn back time 30 minutes and let me take that short. But right now we're in an interesting area, because I said this is the zone, this is the area that I'm looking to take a long, right? This was really an aggressive sell-off. So I am less inclined to take a long right now, because we can very well continue to sell off. I'm not sure what Papa Pal's saying or speaking. He tends to move the markets. And if anything, traders are always a lot more optimistic. People, that's the right news outlets and everything, like, the markets are a lot more optimistic, and they tend to like to fight the Fed. And this is 100% my opinion. Papa Pal likes to give reality checks, and it could get ugly. So
while you're talking there, Dakota, I don't want to interrupt you. We did add some more cash there to our totals. We took a scalp in our express funded accounts to the downside there. We traded 6 lots on that scalp, so we were at $1,296. That's now going to put us up almost $3,000 there on the day, up about $820 in each of my express funded accounts now.
Nice.
Excellent.
We are showing support here now. We are getting that support. 18,000 is such a psychological level, and you know what? I would not be surprised if it just turns into chop around this level, plus or minus 50 points.
Yeah, if we're going back to looking at my trading view chart, if we're looking back here, you can see how much we were snaking around the price here in the overnight session. Between our two levels here, 960 3/4 all the way up to 994 1/4. And this is where we're bouncing back up to now. If we just go over to my Ninja Trader really quick, this is the scalp that I caught here to the downside, covered near the dang bottom too on that thing. So yeah, it was just a quick little scalp, quick little resolution there to the downside on that one. We are bouncing up there. And yeah, this is going to be continually very volatile until we get to that Q&A section, and then we really turn on the booster jets for that volatility here. So I'm excited to see it, and I'm curious how D and Dakota are going to be approaching this market and just kind of eyeing things, maybe setting up for their longer term trades here as I'm taking these short-term scalps.
Yeah, I'm getting some messages. Yet another trade called out, but I didn't take. Yeah, guys, That's the freaking reality, right? Yeah, maybe I switch to a combine and trade it. I don't know. This is real
Yeah,
trading.
look,
If I
so
don't,
look,
if
yeah,
it doesn't
exactly.
set up,
We're
then
not going to be trading for the sake of chat, right? So,
yes.
for me, the time of day plays a crucial part in the strategy that I'm looking at, because time of day, for me, especially in crude oil, has certain mechanics that happen around those times of day. So therefore, the statistics of the setup happening rise with the correct time of day. So if I get the wrong time of day, that means that the statistics of the setup that I'm trying to take are going to be completely useless because I'm not trading at the right time of day, right? So I think Dakota probably has the same thing. He doesn't want to get involved in volatility. And if the level gets there, whilst the market is, they're still in the initial balance and it's super volatile, he's not going to take it. Deal with it.
Yeah.
When I do
that's
take a trade, then watch out, guys.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that, we have 3 folks on this channel right now. We have D, we have Dakota, we have myself, and we all trade very, very different styles, but we all are consistently profitable traders. And this leads me to say, there is no one right way to trade. So if you're ever watching somebody trade, if you ever watch D trade, you ever watch Dakota trade or myself trade, and you start to think to yourself, well, this isn't conducive to my type of style. Great. That's perfectly fine, because every single person out there, and this is the beautiful thing about trading, every single person out there can have their own style when it comes to trading. I've had folks show me charts where I would look at that and I'd say, I don't perceive what you're seeing. I don't look at that the same way that you're looking at it, but they're still a consistently profitable trader. And they could look at my charts and say the same thing about me. So when you're looking at other traders out there, try to glean what you can from what they're talking about. See if there's some little nuggets of knowledge that you can pick up on, because if you're looking at somebody like D or Dakota or myself here, we've proven that we have consistent profitability in these markets, and there's definitely something that you can add or change into your style, or maybe just observe from another person's style that can help to improve yours. So always be looking for ways to get 1% better every single day in your trading. And one of the best ways to do that is to look through the market through a different lens. And that can be looking at and observing another person's trading style. And I'm always fascinated to listen to D talk and to listen to Dakota talk about their specific trading style and how they're seeing this market currently.
Same, Rips. I'm fascinated whenever you're talking, especially that segment that you did about how you trade the news and how you spent loads of time listening to what was said, especially in the FOMC, and then how the price reacted and doing like a slow-mo recap of that. That was something that really spoke to me as a musician, because when you're trying to get to a high level as a musician, you effectively slow down the phrases and you play at a very slow tempo, and then you slowly get all the mechanics of what your fingers are doing or supposed to be doing, and then you just try and keep going with the tempo, so keep increasing the speed. And what I used to do in trading, I wanted to get better at reading candlestick charts and profile in real time. So what I did was to get one of those playback simulated platforms, and I was literally starting from super, super slow-mo, but then I sped it up so that once I came back to the real-time markets, it seemed like it was in slow motion because my brain was now able to process things much faster. So it was really interesting to me that you did the same thing with news, and I was absolutely fascinated by that.
Yeah, there's definitely something to speak on there too. We talked about this a little bit yesterday on Fast Markets. There's a piece of software out there that's totally free. It's in fact what I'm using to broadcast this stream right now. It's obsproject.com, obsproject.com. And what you can do, it's a free piece of software. It's an open source project. What you can do is you can download it and you can record your screen and record your own executions. And after the trading day is done, you can go back and watch yourself execute and see how you were trading. And what you'll come to see is that you might not notice a lot of nuanced things that you're doing as a trader. And when you're watching it in real time after the fact versus trading it in real time, you'll be able to notice a lot more things that you wouldn't in the moment because you're so laser focused on your trade in that moment, especially if you're something like a momentum scalper like myself. But even if you're a swing trader out there, you might notice some nuanced things going back and watching your game film. And you'll notice that professional athletes do this all the time. They're reviewing their game films. They're reviewing reviewing the teams that they're facing. They're looking at this stuff for information when there's not a lot of stress put on you. No matter whether or not you like it, when you're trading, there's always going to be an undue amount of stress that's put on you as a person, and it's going to be mental stress. It's going to take away from your focus. It's going to be difficult to notice a lot of certain things. So going back and watching the game film is an amazing tactic that you can use to improve your own trading. And, recording your own screen, nobody else is going to see it. It's a very open and honest discussion that you can have with yourself. And that leads into, journaling as well. Doing these things is how you improve as a trader. And I'm really happy that you brought that up, Dee, because that's what I did personally throughout my own trading, was to watch news events or watch the tape from news events, watch it back after the fact, match it up with the keywords that were being spoken, and seeing how the market received those keywords. And specifically, like Dee was saying, on news events like FOMC. It's a great way that you can learn, and I highly recommend you folks out there do that. Have you ever done anything like that, Dee, yourself? Have you ever recorded your screen and gone back and watched? I know you stream, so.
Yeah, I mean, I've recorded myself for years. So, I had daily live streams up until I think last year. And then I had some health issues, so I had to stop with the daily live streams because it was like affecting me and pushing me deeper into the illness. So I have a lot of times when, a lot of footage of me trading, talking through my trades. So actually February sucked for me. Like it was like terrible. So I actually went back to rewatch myself from, back maybe 8 months ago, 2 years ago, just to see if there was anything different. And it was quite funny. I was very objective. And in February, because of lack of movement in crude oil, I got frustrated, started chasing, lost objectivity. And it's that objectivity that I noticed on the older videos. So I was like, I see. So we hit the Asian high, it started to reverse. As soon as it reversed, I was like, nope, that's done. And I would take a little bit of profit. And what I was doing in February, especially like towards the second part of February, is like, no, I'm going to keep this. And I'm clearly seeing it reverse. And I'm like, nope, still staying in. It's like, the trade has been invalidated, Dee. What the hell are you doing? So it was really, really instrumental in me kind of pulling myself back from the brink of just kind of like, oh God, what is crude oil doing? To going, no, actually, yeah, crude oil wasn't moving, but now it's moving. And Dee, what are you doing to not cut the trade when, you have an orientation point that I was watching for a continuation of staying in the trade, and it clearly failed. And I remained it. So I'm like, okay, all of that needs to go into my journal. I need to pull myself back. And now I've started doing that. So obviously I've now put myself onto a combine to, again, remove a bit of the pressure, just to not kind of go, yeah, let's just continue to trade the live account. I don't want to be down on the year. But like I said, if I continued the way I was going, I would have been down on the year. Nobody wants that. So I'm back on the combine with a plan to get another 3 XFAs, a couple of XFAs, and thereby proving competence that I can trade the live account again. But those old videos, when you get yourself into a period of a drawdown and lack of performance, to me are invaluable. Just having all of those videos to watch myself and go, interesting. And it's not somebody else, it's me, right? So it's not like I'm watching another person trading and making good decisions. This was me. So I'm like, okay, this is great. And very frequently, whenever I feel like I'm not performing, like sometimes I might be profitable, but I feel like my decisions have not been timed particularly well. But because of the higher risk reward that I utilize in my trading, it allows for a few Muppet moments to happen. So it's not like
Muppet moments. I love that.
Muppet moments. Yeah. And whenever I do that, I always go back to rewatch what I was doing. So I would highly advise, like Rip says, just record yourself. I use OBS all the time for my streaming and stuff, and it's so easy. You just record your screen. You can even record yourself to see what your reactions were. And it's quite funny when you're in a trade that you're not maybe supposed to be in on, your face changes, and you're like, so suddenly you look very stressed out. You're kind of doing things with your hands, you're clicking, you're biting lips, you're sort of intently looking at the market. That's a bad sign. It means you shouldn't be in that trade. Good trading, good setups should be reasonably relaxed, right? It's like you have a level, you follow the price action, you're getting in at the right area. If it fails, it fails. Just accept the loss. Be comfortable with the loss. that you're putting on the line. That's another thing. A lot of people trade too large for the size of the account that we're given. And then they're like, oh my God, first day in the XFA, I'm going to whack in 10 contracts. And then it's like, dig a deep hole. And I was like, would you like a shovel? Like, which one would you? So don't do that. Obviously, start slow. It's not forever. You can always ramp up size later on when you have a little bit more buffer. So, and even after that, you can always have a bad period, especially if this is your first funded account, you don't exactly know how to tackle a drawdown. All of that will play into your performance, and you have to plan for the days when you might be misperforming. I never come into the market and go, today I'm going to make $5,000. No, I'm just like, let's see what the market gives me today, because we don't know. That's an unknown, right?
100%. Yeah. We got Dakota down there sipping on some scissor. Dakota, do you record your screen at all? And by the way, folks, we do have Jerome Powell who is answering questions right now. So do understand there is a lot of volatility. I haven't taken any trades since. We're still sitting up about $3,000 on the day. And go ahead.
So this is Dakota trading.
Yeah, I'm.
That's like Dakota's version of Celsius is when he's sipping on the ZQL.
Yeah.
I'm over here just daydreaming about that short and then that long, and
I can see the frustration on your face, Dakota. Can you walk us through that? Because I think it would be very, very helpful to hear how that feels. What your emotional state is going through everything, because it will make people in chat specifically feel less alone, because they'll understand, a consistently profitable trader like yourself goes through the same emotions that they do. If you wouldn't mind giving some color to that, I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I'm not immune to not having emotions. That's why I prefer sleeping when I trade. Then I don't have to worry about this crap, right?
Yeah. One way to deal with it.
But yeah, like I said, it doesn't get any better than this for a day like me, like as in not trading, in terms of I had these levels. And if anybody was not here before we started, everyone knows what I was looking at. My level that I was looking at, looking for the market to sell off, was here. The level that I was looking to buy it was here. And sure enough, man, look at that, right? Did I place a trade? No. Am I upset? Yes.
Would you call that analysis paralysis, perhaps, Dakota? Is that something that you experienced there, or what was it? What was your big holdup on placing that trade?
Yeah. So here's the thing: regardless of how confident I was, and regardless of how amazing of a trader I could be, and everyone has that, right? And even if I'm on a good winning streak, or if I'm in the pocket, or whatever it is, I've not traded the New York Open for a very long time, and I'm not about to just jump into the market without at least watching it and
even if I'm holding your hand. Come on, Dakota.
Even if you're holding my hand, and maybe that's what it says. Someone says it, scared money makes no money. Scared money don't make no money. It also doesn't lose money.
Very true.
So I'm on the boat for just not losing money today. Sure, I could have taken it with maybe like a micro or something. But yeah, I'm actually looking for really good trade setups, which I've got. And now we're kind of settled down. Like I said, we have news coming out. We have Powell speaking, and I'm saying that the risk wasn't there for me. I would much rather be frustrated and not have any trades going than have trades going and be frustrated, I guess. So I experience all the emotions. Whether I show it or not, it's a different story, because I'm a poker player first as well.
Good poker face.
Yeah, there's my poker face. I could just be burning inside and you'll never tell. But yeah, I experienced the same stuff that everybody goes through. I just don't let it affect my trading. I've learned the hard way, unfortunately, that I could be as emotional as possible. I just cannot let it affect my trading, and it's better, you guys, I just sit back, chill, relax, listen to you guys talk and speak, and then read the chat, and then just wait for another setup. Like that's all we could do, right?
What?
So what? Spilt milk, laissez-faire.
you always have another setup on the cards. It's not like we're gonna have one setup and then never again. You know?
Yeah, exactly. We could have another great setup. Like I was looking, and there was actually another decent setup that I didn't take. I didn't call it out because we did have this sell-off, and guess what happens when we have a sell-off? A lot of times we do have that pullback, and where do we pull back? We pull back typically to where support became resistance. Yeah. That was another setup. I didn't take it because, like I said, I am practicing, and once the market starts to settle down a little bit, then I will trade. Like I said, I'm a slow markets trader. This is extremely fast for me. Slow markets. I place a trade. I go to bed and I sleep. I do trade the New York session sometimes, but I do not trade the New York Open. And it's just now been an hour since the market's been opened. It feels like a long time, but it's only been about an hour since we opened. We have a long day ahead of us, guys. Even though we're only live for 3 hours, right? Or whatever, we're going to be ending the show.
We have about an hour and a half left to stream with you folks.
Yeah. So it's still a long day. We still have the lunch session. We still have, the power hour for trading. And I am a trader first, and I will be trading those sessions. So I'm not going to blow my load in one shot.
Easy there, buddy. Easy there.
The first hour of trading.
Keep it PG.
So let me ask you this, Dakota. Are you on the top 10 leaderboard of all Topstep traders currently?
Last I checked.
You are.
I don't know anymore. I've stopped watching that very much. It's so volatile.
Did it affect
we were
you?
talking
So
about
this is a great question from D, by the way.
Because I want to ask you, because the whole competition thing and everything, it got into my head for sure. And because they started putting the number of the ranked traders next to our names and stuff, and I was like, oh God, I have to perform. And then it just got into my head. Didn't help that February was really sucky, but all of that just played. Just wreaked havoc on my mindset. How did it affect you, knowing that you were number one, knowing that you're maintaining, whatever top spot? Did it affect you at all, positively, negatively?
I gotta pay attention to what I say in this chat, huh?
You really do. I mean, you got to choose your words a little bit better, I think.
Hey, we're all adults, and that wasn't anything inappropriate.
I have a second grader sense of humor in my brain, so
that was not that. I don't know what you guys get your mind out of the gutter. I was 100% appropriate. Yes. That's not what I was talking about. I don't want to hit my daily loss limit in the first hour. But according to that, I mean, us. That's part of being on the best team in the TTL, right? Is we don't let that affect us. Mm-hmm. And I know you're with Shy City, and you guys are a little bit more emotional than we are. But that's just the reality. I mean, we're up here. Shy City's like here. Okay.
I mean, this is 2 versus 1. This is unfair. We can't pile it on here.
I was defending you earlier, but
Yeah, I mean,
all right.
On this one, I mean, D is a wonderful guest here. I'm not cool with the bad mouthing here. This is 2 versus 1. It's not even a fair fight.
It left you to the wolves.
Honestly,
no, it really does.
I'm a big girl. Well, I'm a little girl, but I can do it.
No, it really does, D. In all reality, it's already hard enough to be consistent and profitable. Adding to the spotlight, like having the spotlight, having everybody watch you on TopstepTV, that's another thing. But then on top of that, then you add the leaderboard, right? So it went from, I'm behind the scenes, okay, we're trading, we're becoming consistent, we're becoming profitable. Then, okay, now do the same thing you're doing, but in front of thousands of traders. And then not only do that, you're number one on the leaderboard. I'm like, and you're number one out of tens of thousands of traders. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, now keep doing that on live TV while everybody knows that you're number one. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, let's make a YouTube video of saying that you're number one. And let's talk about you daily. And let's call you coach and give you your own show after hours.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Let's
And then
See, the
keep that
live
same
streaming
performance.
part, I was okay with that because obviously I've had my channel for a few years now, and I don't have a problem. Like I've had, I've done collabs before, so we've had about 300 to 500 people on streams, and I'm okay with that. But the part that really got to me was the fact that they started putting the numbers next to our names. So I was like, oh my God, if I screw this up, this is the end, man. What's happening? And that's
So-
the thing that really messed with my head. And now I'm just like, I had a session with a psychotherapist, and we kind of sorted a few things out. We have a plan of action, and so I'm kind of just trying to put it outside of my head completely, just ignore that that's happening. And just try to get back to how I would normally trade, even if nobody is watching, nobody cares about leaderboards and all of that, so they can do whatever. All right, guys, crude oil inventories are out. We're jumping.
Can we go to Crude on your screen there, Dakota, please?
I switched to my live account. I don't have Crude data on it.
Okay, let me go ahead and get Crude here.
Mm-hmm.
I actually look at my demo account and I trade Crude in my live off.
Wow, we are popping on that Crude there. The inventories are out 1.37 million versus 1.3 million. Estimate for crude gasoline is still coming off, and distillate at negative 4.1 million versus a negative 0.4 million estimate there. So crude coming in slightly hotter to the tune of 0.07 million.
They're still in line though, because they were expecting 2.4, so that's not that outrageous. So I reckon this might be a storm in a teacup. Test the 80, then reverse, failed the auction, so we might have a setup. We'll see.
Call it out. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure, D. I see everybody do it. I see the traders behind the scenes that go up there, and we just call them Novas, right? Where they go up, they do really well, they make a lot of money, and then they just blow it. I mean, it's very, very hard to see. And yeah, as a coach, because I really do want to help traders, I'm like, the leaderboard is amazing, but it's a two-edged sword, because it's really good, because it's really good to see how these traders are doing, and it's good. However, and yeah, I don't want to call out any names or do anything, but there is an aspect of, if you're doing good, just and you don't think you could deal with that, maybe. And I'm just gonna say this on TopstepTV is maybe just don't look at the leaderboard. Turn off TopstepTV at 10:15 a.m. and don't look at the leaderboard, and then maybe tune in outside of that, so that way you don't play tricks on yourself. It happened to me, and then I dropped down to like 50,000. I'm like, you know what, heck with this. I'm gonna start taking payouts and trading real. Right? I proved myself. I'm gonna focus on the Topstep Trading League, and I'm gonna focus on helping traders in my slow markets. And my life's already busy enough. So I proved what I wanted to. Coaches can do, right? Do is, or whatever that saying was. But I took out a payout. I made another 3,000 in 5 days. I'll take another payout. And the way that I like to do it is I have 50K live account here at Topstep now. And every other week, I'll just pay myself with the profits. And that's it. There's no more pressure. And I think I've been doing a lot better because I haven't cared so much about my trading on my Topstep accounts, because I showed what I needed to. And now I'm just focusing on my slow markets class and relaxing. And you guys could see that. I haven't taken a trade today. And I'm perfectly okay with it. So, yeah.
I said I did a trade in London on an unrelated market in my personal account. That's a different story, different market. Eurex, different session. DAX is actually one of the products that I do trade for London if I'm going to trade.
How's the liquidity in the DAX when you're trading that during the London
session?
Pretty
good. I mean, it's not crazy as NASDAQ, but it's pretty liquid. So if you have a setup, there is a decent amount of follow through. Usually it moves in chunks of about 20 to 30 ticks up and down. And yes, of course, you can have a range bound day. You can run into a slow period, but for most of the year, it would be pretty liquid. The main session is London. So the largest range which is usually done during London. But strangely enough, occasionally when we have some stuff happening over your side of the world, New York actually takes over as the size of the session. So you tend to have like 180 ticks for the New York session versus 140 ticks for London. And then I usually say that the London traders have kind of lost their nuts.
Lost their courage. Their courage.
Yes, lost their courage. Courage. That is the word that I was looking for. Thank you, Rips. So yeah, it does vary throughout the year, but most of the year you can pretty much guarantee that London will be the main session, and that's why I like it, because it's a little bit slower. It is an equity index, so it kind of adds to the diversity of the portfolio that I'm usually trading. So I usually have gold, crude oil, and then one equity index, and that will be sometimes ES, sometimes DAX, just depending on what the market is doing. But yeah, it's a pretty nice product. You would probably find it really relaxing, Rips, because it's pretty easy to read.
Yeah, I mean, I've never actually traded the DAX myself, but I get squawks about it all the time when I'm up early.
Yeah, it's a good product.
Yeah, and just to kind of to talk about what Dakota was leading into there, talking about seeing yourself on the leaderboard and the stress that comes with that. This isn't a dig at anybody else, but I'm not even on the leaderboard. But if you're not on the leaderboard, there's something else that you're looking at that can kind of get in the way of that. And it can be with passing a combine account. Now, if you're very close to passing a combine account, let's say that you're $200 away. And I've been guilty of this too. But how many times have you been $200 away and you're so close to passing and you focus on that number of being $200 away of passing, and instead of focusing on really good trades, you're focusing on this number that the market has no idea about? I know I'm guilty of that. Dakota, have you folks ever encountered the same thing?
Dakota?
Go ahead, D. Yeah,
sorry. I was just focusing on.
Are you in a trade right now? I don't want to bother you if you're in a trade.
No, not yet. I am thinking about it because it's over 80.
We'll get back to you then. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Dakota?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not passing XFAs or not XFAs, combines. I do it sometimes because trading. I trade for income. I trade to pay the bills because I'm a trader. And I think, there used to be a time where I'm like thinking, I have these bills coming up and I need the money to pay these bills. And so, I've put numbers where, okay, if I could just make, $1,200 this week, then I'll be able to use that to go to Peru or something. And then when I do that, it ends up not turning out the way that you think it would turn out. I end up losing the $1,200. So not so much on the combines aspect, but that's just me. I have blown combines. I mean, we're all guilty of it because that's the reality. I've been testing Topstep X as well, blowing plenty of combines there, and they could all understand that. And sometimes it's frustrating. I just know that, as you guys can see, I'm not trading combines now. And sometimes when I do test strategies, I trade a combine. And there's sometimes where I am testing a strategy and it looks really, really good. And then I'm just really quick. And I'm like $1,500 away. And then I hit a daily loss limit. And then I'm just like, it's just so frustrating on that aspect, even though I don't have any investment into it in terms of dollars other than like $150. So that's been really good because knowing that if I do lose, it's only $150. Maybe that's actually not too good of a thing, right? Because it's a very small loss and you don't look at it as a live account, which we should. And you guys as traders should look at that as a live account and not just a $150 loss.
Really quickly, well, not really quickly, but D, if you do have some time here, are you able to talk about the setup that you're looking at here? I think it would be very helpful for our traders in chat.
Yeah, sure. So I was looking at 80 and slightly above 80.11. We do have some supply there. I do have another level if this one doesn't budge and it doesn't kind of go back the other way. So I was looking for it to fail around that area. but it does look like they filled a bunch of orders there. So for now, I'm still sitting on my hands and possibly now looking at the average session high closer to the weekly supply, which would put us to 80.77, so quite a bit higher. If I manage to get back down to the top of the first hour range from NYMEX, which is 79.87, I might have a long. And the third and final option that might happen is that we leave some single prints on the upside due to a strong move that we had as a result of the inventories report being perceived positively. And then if we don't get to 80.77 and we do get a test of the single prints left behind, I might have a long directional trade. So that's just some of the things that are going through my head right now, just kind of coming up with little scenarios that are possible and what would count for a good trading location. But again, for now, some of the first setup is not coming true, so now I'm waiting for a second and third setup. So that's kind of how my brain works.
So is this very standard when you're looking at your setups? And it's amazing hearing you speak about it. I just love hearing other traders talk about the way that they eye their setups. And you're talking about so many multiple scenarios that are out there, and I am assuming that's so that you're not surprised when a certain price action starts to come out. Can you speak a little bit how you kind of go through, you talked about your setups. Can you go through how you would normally approach that? Is it multiple setups all the time? Do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Multiple setups every day, but it's not infinite amount of setups. I don't come here and go, well, if this happens, that happens, and then this will happen, this might happen. Obviously, once we extend the first hour of trading range, that kind of puts me into the category of like, okay, well, this stuff we can exclude for the day. So for example, if we were to have just a boring rotational day where we never leave that first hour of trading range, well, that's not happening because we already extended outside of it. So what can happen next? Well, we can fail the auction. We can end up in a neutral day, or we can effectively end up in a directional day. And that's pretty much it. And then after I have those basic directional indicators, let's call them, I just want to match them with the levels that I know work pretty well for that type of market condition. So I always have at least 3, sometimes 4 hypos on the day. And I try to have 2 on the long side, 2 on the short side, unless we're in a properly strong trending day. In that case, again, a lot of those hypos will fall off the probability list. And then whatever remains, you just have to wait, sit and wait for the level, sit and wait for the price action to show you the way. And you can use Bookmap. You can use, some people use Footprint. You can even use like 2-minute chart, 5-minute chart, like whatever you think that can help you get into a trade. So I find having contingency plans and going into the day prepared and then just modifying the hypos as the day develops, that's helped me a lot to stay away from impulsive decisions rather than, something breaks and you're like, I'm going to chase it. So I don't like doing that. It's a very bad way to trade. And, especially for crude oil that has so many reversals, it's just not a market that kind of goes and then keeps going.
Right.
You don't see that much in crude oil. Even if you have a trending day, a lot of the times it will be kind of like a staggering upside or kind of slightly falling off to slightly selling off. But it's never like, oh yeah, whoosh, and then it just keeps going. It's a very different behavior to the equities, which do go on these like insane runs, especially around the earnings season. I've seen NQ just shoot up and up and up, and it's just like no opportunity for a pullback at all. So this is where I say, just point, click, and pray. That's the only trade you can do. There's no hypos. Whenever I see,
go ahead. Sorry.
Whenever I see somebody who doesn't have the level of experience or the years of experience coming into the market with just like 3 lines on the chart, I'm like, well, what is that? You're just going to lose your head as soon as the market starts moving. We actually had one guy who was this very, very intelligent. He was a Chinese guy called Wei. And he had a PhD in like statistics and like super, super bright boy. And he was a prop trader, or he was trying to be a prop trader at that time. So he had these like elaborate plans and probabilities and levels and everything. And then the market would stop moving and you'd just see it on his face, just go, click, and you'll be in. So like, why? Don't do that. So all of that brain and everything, just he couldn't hold on to the the discipline. And one thing that we did for him was to make him follow the plan. And it was probably one of the most difficult things that he was ever going to do in his life, just stopping yourself. But I just find that if you have a detailed plan, and if you can sort of explain to yourself the reasons why you should be in a trade at around about this level, that's going to go a long way to stop you from impulsive decisions.
Now, is this something that you picked up being in that prop firm that you traded for? Is this something that one of your mentors taught you? Because or was this something that was self-taught?
Yeah, it was something I picked up. So I worked for about 3 prop firms before. So it was a second prop firm. So I saw a guy having these like scenarios on the screen. And I was like, well, what's that? And he's like, oh, it's just like scenarios. And I'm like, how could you possibly create scenarios when you don't know what's going to happen? And he's like, oh, I have my orientation points. And I was like, tell me more. so we sort of just chatted, it was very casual. There was nothing, oh yeah, let's sit down and teach you how to create hypos. But actually, once I've figured out how to do them myself, that's something that I included in my program, right? So whoever comes to me, that's something that I teach them. So we look at open sentiment in regards to the market profile of a big profile trader. I look at the supply and demand areas, how far we are from them. Did we already reverse from them or not? I obviously look at my average session and average daily ranges. So did we break through them? Did we hold? Did we reverse? Did we just ignore them? All of that kind of plays into those hypos. So it's a very systematic way of looking at things. And whilst it's not necessarily going to solve, somebody coming into this with a gambler mentality, it does go a long way to sort out normal people's impulsivity. And I say normal people because, gambling is an addiction, that there's a problem. You don't need a trading coach. You probably need a psychiatrist, right? So don't come to me. But with the everybody else who struggles with an occasional Muppet moment and they just can't pass the XFAs, or they keep failing them, or they can't pass a combine, this is a very good way to just get yourself back on track, explain yourself why you should be in a trade, and just work on the levels first and the probabilities of the setups you're taking, rather than let's sort the psychology first, but we have no idea what a trading location looks like. That should be low risk, right? So for me, I'm very against sorting out psychology before you know your levels. I don't know whether you guys agree.
I agree 100%. And I think that what you're saying, you folks in chat should be really, if you're missing any of this, go back and watch the stream at a later time, because this is just gold that you're dropping here again, Dee. Really appreciate you being on the show with us here. But yeah, I'm very much in the same way. I like to look at trades from multiple different scenarios. I like to have a lot of if this, then that type of scenarios, so that I don't ever really sit there and say, well, what next? I have a trade plan, I have a trade idea, and I'm just executing on that plan as best as I can. I think one of the biggest killers out there for newer traders is impulsivity. When you're looking at a trade and you don't really have an idea what you're looking for, and all of a sudden the market starts to go in one direction and you start to get so jazzed up with this momentum, and you're looking at it and you're saying, oh my gosh, it's going up, I got to catch this rip to the top side, or it's barreling to the downside, and you're thinking, I got to short this market, and there's really no plan that's coming into that. So yes, exactly what Dee is saying. Look at these scenarios that are on the table for you. Have it mapped out before you take a trade, because if you're jumping into a trade willy-nilly, you're going to be sitting there not knowing what to do, where your exit is going to be, where your risk should be, how much risk is being calculated on that specific trade. And if you're doing that right now, just stop, take a breather, and do what Dee is saying. Really map out your trades before they're going to happen, and let the price come to you. I think that'll help with a lot of people out there that have that impatience with trading. They want to jump into a trade, the market starts going in a certain direction, and they don't even have a price level, or they're not even looking for a certain price to be satisfied. I'm watching you here right now, Dee, and you're not taking any trades because you're waiting for the crude price to come to you and your levels. And that speaks volumes to the type of trader that Dee is out there. She's a professional trader. This is what she does full time, and she's consistently profitable in her trading. It's not an accidental thing that happens. This is because she's practicing discipline every single day in her trades. She's not jumping into something. She's saying, hey, Crude, I'll trade you, but you got to bring the price to my price if you want to get me in a trade, right? And that's absolutely. I would say that's probably one of the most paramount things of importance when it comes to discipline and executing on your plan, is waiting for that price to come to you and having that plan prepared for when the price does come to you.
100%. And I think Dakota is doing the same thing. I've noticed that Dakota likes going in off swing lows and swing highs. And that's a great way to start your analysis. It's like, have a look at the market structure. Like that's the basic thing that you can do for yourself. Don't zoom into a 1 minute chart. You can do that later, but just know where you are on that larger time frame.
100%. Dakota, any commentary on this discussion here?
No. I'm sorry.
I'm going over your screen, by the way, right now. We're on your screen, buddy.
Let me hurry and close some tabs. Let me. No, we're here to have fun, but that's the reality. We're all live traders here right now. Me, you, and D. We're all live traders. It's not a lot of trades. It's not buy this, sell this, do that. We've kind of just been hanging out, talking shop, talking things. I've been chatting with some of the Discord members. I've been reading the chat, which is fun. Yeah, I am a little bit tired. I admit that. I'm talking to my therapist right now. Good old Dayquil and energy drink. But yeah,
we all have our vices. It's okay.
We all have our vices. I'm watching the markets. I'm waiting for a setup. Like, that's the hardest part about trading is not trading, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Just because the markets are open doesn't mean that you need to be trading them. And you should often be challenging the market to come to your prices where it makes sense. One of the things that I like to look at when I'm looking at entries for trades, you have the 2 C's. It's either continuation or confirmation. It's a lot easier to wait for confirmation versus jumping into continuation. Yes, you can make money being a continuation trader, but it requires a lot more of that market time and putting hours and hours into the market, reading charts and understanding patterns. If you're trading for less than 3 years, I consider that you're still in that learning stage of your career of trading. 3 years is kind of the first part where things start to really click and you start to make sense. Myself, I've been trading for a decade. I know Dakota's been trading for a decade as well. D, how long have you been trading for?
16 years.
There you go.
11 of those as a professional prop trader.
So we're talking about almost 40 years of experience here on the stage right now. Yeah. And we're all kind of saying the same thing here. And, the advice that we're giving to you folks out here in chat, it's advice that comes from a good place. We all want to see everybody succeeding in this game. And I think that, Dee was talking about her horror story where she had a position on in a prop firm. She couldn't get out. She lost $250,000 of prop firm money. And that was a detrimental thing. I've had similar stories where I had monumental losses in my career. But like we said, we wouldn't trade these things for the world because we learned so much from them. But by learning them, we picked up a lot of different tool sets along the way that helped us get to this stage in our trading careers. Dee's been doing this for 16 years, Dakota over 10 years, myself for 10 years. So it's been a long road to get here. And the reason why we try to drop as much knowledge as we can is because we want to shorten your learning curve out there. We want to make sure that you can avoid the pitfalls that we all ran into early on in our trading career. And a lot of this starts with patience, discipline, and really respecting the rules of trading. Would you agree with that, Dakota?
100%. 100%. As you guys were doing that, I pulled up some old pictures of the coal mine I used to work at. Give me just a second. Who wants to see pictures of that? You guys,
everybody.
I think everybody.
I'm trying to find a picture, one of them with me. But it's just, you can't really tell who's who when all of our faces are black and covered in coal. But man, this brings back memories. Like I said, as straight out of high school, I went right into the coal mines. That's the reality of growing up in a coal mine city. Very, very small city here in Utah, like population 2,000. Wow. Everyone worked in the coal mine. Everyone knows everybody.
And while you were in the coal mines, you were trading coal futures, right?
Yeah, we had a good old Bob Murray. And yeah, the price of coal. Everyone would talk about the price of coal daily, hauling truckloads of coal and all that fun stuff. And here's a fun fact. Here's another fun fact. I know I've lived a crazy life. I co-owned a trucking company. I had 8 truck drivers. We'd haul potatoes from Idaho down to Texas. That lasted about 2 years.
It's good money though, because I know somebody who does that for a living.
Yeah, big shout out to all the truck drivers. Like, they are truly they're like the blood of America and dealing with all the highways. So shout out to them. I'll find a good picture and I'll post it. I'm not going to be as great as Jack with all his good juicy stuff when he posts and shows the stuff, but we'll see. I'll see if I can find a decent picture here and show the audience. But in the meantime, we've been rallying back up.
Big rally in NQ. Before you start there, Dakota, quick question for anybody in chat. If you did catch that ripper to the top side on the NQ, please drop a W in chat. I'd love to see it, get a little temperature on the room here, see if anybody caught that. I saw Mr. Kofifi here in the Discord. He's up. Good golly, it looks like about $20,000 on the day trading XFAs. So a lot of opportunity in the market today. It's just been extraordinary. This type of movement in the NQ is just unbelievable. I'm seeing tons of W's in the chat. Give it up for yourselves out there. Congratulations to everybody out there. Love to see that. Go ahead, Dakota. You were saying.
Yeah, we've been rallying up here on the NASDAQ. You can see I have the 5-minute chart up here. If we start to consolidate on the 5-minute, I possibly could be looking at a short because this was a good area for support and resistance. So if we do start to show any type of consolidation, any type of resistance around here, I would love more consolidation, maybe a 3-bar reversal, something very basic, very simple. Then I could be looking to get into a short to see if we can have another continuation back down towards these lows. Like I said, 18,000 is a key psychological level. And if we do start to chop, I would not be surprised if we chop down towards that.
Yeah, I'm watching this 71 level for a potential trade here, just seeing if we are rejecting off this level or if we will find a rally through this level. So I am looking at potentially putting on a smaller trade here. Any trades yet for you, D? Or are you still market stocking over there?
Sorry, my dogs are coming back from doggy daycare, so there's like a lot of barking here, so I muted myself. No trades yet. I'm waiting for the 80.75 now, which is the average session high. So I'm not chasing this. I'm not interested in chasing it. So I'm looking at that top of the range to try a short. And now this changes the hypo slightly because this will make it into an auction fade rather than a failed auction. Difference being is how far we are from the initial balance. So if we're pretty far from it, that means that my target is going to change to not chasing all the way where the market came from at the open, but rather just chasing the top of the initial balance range as my end target. But if I can get my 2R multiples before then, that would be great. I look for about 60 ticks for that. But for now, 80.75 is the hypo that is looking like the most likely. It is running up there, so obviously this news has been perceived pretty positively. One helper price event that might be good for this setup once we get to 80.77 is that the price can actually take out the single prints to the downside. Some people call it FVG, fair value gap. You can look at it that way too. So effectively what I will be looking for is a reversal from 80.75, probably closer to Euro close if I'm still on. But even if I'm not on the stream, this is still the same trade that I'll be looking at. So effectively to fade the move somewhat through the single prints that were left behind. So when the market starts building a little bit of structure, so if we settle around 80.77, and again, everything is a zone. It doesn't have to settle there. It might go 30 ticks higher and then settle. But the point being is I want to see that average session range high exhausted. I like to call it an exhaustion of the average range, because at that point, this is the range that we had over the last 10 to 14 days, and that is the expected move. So once we're there, usually there's a very, very high probability chance that into the second part of the session, the market just starts to reverse. And that is literally something that happens about 70% of the time. Now, I want to see a couple of things. I want to see at least 3 TPOs on the profile per row at the time. So about an hour and a half of price not actually going anywhere. And then I want to see the takeout of the single prints to the downside in order to keep me in a trade. If that doesn't happen, and we kind of just stay in there and build structure, that will be it. So I'm probably going to kill the trade at a minor loss. But yeah, it's one of those trades that can last you like a couple of hours, like easily. And that's how I find my setups. I wait for these high probability reversal points, and I just wait and see what the market does around there, and then I decide. So hopefully that makes more sense.
Very good. Yeah, I'm looking for a long here in the NQ myself. I'm seeing these 71s that are holding here, and there's a lot of liquidity below that. So if we had a statement out from Powell that negated that, we could flush down, but there is a lot of liquidity to catch that here. So I am looking to the long side here, and I will be managing this risk. I'm going to go over to Dakota's screen, see what you're seeing over in the NQ as well.
Be honest, Rips, not much has changed. We just had another 5-minute candle. We are starting to see a little bit of resistance here. If I flip over to a 100 tick chart, you can kind of see that, right? As I say that, it looks like we might be breaking out. We had that rally, then kind of just consolidation. And so we'll see if we break out or we continue to have that resistance.
Big breakout there to the top side, by the way. Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
It is starting to run here.
Did you get in long there?
I am long, yeah.
Okay, you're long.
Yep, I'm looking for 97 halves to the top side here. So we are looking long and strong here. Nice push up to the top side. Just covered 2 of my contracts there. Nice push up into those 85s. Beautiful, beautiful trade working out here.
Where are you from?
This morning.
I was long from 72. You can see right here above my head, there's my average, 18,072 quarters. 1 lot long right there. And we're trying to run the rest up here. I'm moving my stop here just a little bit. Let me go over to my Ninja Trader here. Whoops, that's not it. Where's my Ninja Trader? There we have, and stopped out there. So we were up $2,800 on the day. Let's see what the grand total is. Drum roll, please. We are at $3,800. So we made an extra $1,000 on that trade there to the top side. Trading in our XFAs, we are now up about $3,000 in our XFA account. So
nice one.
Yeehaw.
Beautiful.
You know what we call that around here, folks?
That's what we call a sack lunch.
Man, infinite bids. Like I said, just don't trip, buy the dip. Like that's what it's been, right?
Yeah.
Good example.
So yeah, we are continuing to push up here in the NQ. I'll go back to your screen there, Mr. Dakota. We are continuing this V-shaped recovery.
A decent image. Let me see if I could pull it up here.
Big K Daddy says, Rips, when you enter, can you please make it loud and interrupt them? Just watch above my head here where it says flat and entry. That's when you can see when I'm entering into a trade, and entry will show you where my average price is. So that's how you can keep track of it.
Nice. Yeah, let me see if I could pull this up. I could show you a little bit about it while we're talking. And while we're waiting, give me a second while I figure that out.
Any pullbacks worthwhile of longing there in crude at all, Deanna?
Yeah, we have some single prints left behind. So if the price tags 80, 27 and slightly below, that could be a little long opportunity. I would like to see the profit margin up to my next orientation point at 60 ticks or more. But at the moment, that next orientation point is only about 47 ticks. So that's slightly putting a wrench in the works on the profit margin that I would want to look for that sort of a trade.
We are seeing a big breakout there on the S&Ps now at 51.22 halves. This is kind of the area that was the pre-market highs here that we are breaking out of on the S&Ps. So a really, really great V-shaped recovery that we're seeing there on the S&Ps and on the NAS here. The targets to the upside on the NAS that I'm looking for here, we did just hit that 97 halves that we were talking about earlier. And now we're looking for 118 halves to the top side. So I might try to find a trade if we get a pullback here. But right now, the commentary that is coming out of Papa Powell here is somewhat to the leaning to the dovish side, which Powell has been known to have curveballs in the market. So this is one of those days where we're having where most folks were expecting him to be quite hawkish. He is dovish.
This is man, it always looks better hindsight, right? After the market and after the move has been made, then you look back and say, man, that was so simple. Like, we have hindsight a sell-off and we just buy the dip. Yeah, and I'm sitting here watching the market run without me as a perma bull. It can be a little bit frustrating, and we are reaching those pre-market highs, like you said. The high of the open is what is it? 126.5. So we still have room to go. And now the question is, do we have a pullback and then we rally up and test it and possibly break it? Or are we just going to go up there and then sell off and continue to consolidate?
Yeah, we did see some consolidation earlier, right down there, right around this 18,041 level. We had a pullback in between levels from 18,041 and 3/4 all the way down to 18,018. That was a really, really nice entry, but we were so involved in conversation, I didn't end up getting any of that down there, but I ended up, catching that long later on there from those 71s on that bounce. We are pulling back a little bit here in the NQ. I'm curious if we're pulling back in crude at all. I know you said D, your level you're looking for is 80.27. No pullbacks in crude just yet.
No pullbacks in crude oil. Nothing yet. Yeah.
All bids all the way up to the top
It's
side
just
there.
hanging at the high of the day. Yeah.
So yeah, I see what you're talking about there. There's a lot of liquidity basically at 80 spot 25. So you'd be looking at 80.27 for an entry there. So I see what you're seeing as well there on the market profile. Dakota, what would bring you into a trade? I see we just had a pullback here on the NQ. What would you be looking at rather for a entry here, if at all? This is a huge pullback, by the way, from 107 now to 81 here.
This is what I was kind of looking for, is something, a pullback like this. I'm going to be honest. I would actually be, I have a short bias right now.
I'm going to go to your screen here, Dakota. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, you're on the 5-minute chart as well, but I do have a short bias.
Really quickly, I'm going to take a quick restroom break. I'm going to move your screen, Deanna, covering mine here. So I would love it if you two could just talk amongst yourselves here.
Okay. Yes, no problem.
I'll be right back.
Yeah,
I'm going to talk about my short bias.
Okay, go.
Real quick, D, and because I have some questions, traders asking why short. Well, the reason why I have a short bias is because, to be honest, the immediate trend is down and to the right from yesterday, and yes, we are up today, and we came up to where we opened up on the New York session, and immediately we found a bunch of sellers over here on the 5-minute chart. This is a really ugly looking wick on the 5-minute back down here. So even though I have a short bias, I'm not going to jump in and just short the market. I'm going to wait for the market to tell me, because we could very well continue to rally, as we always see the market just going up, 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 and up on such. Yeah, it's been just infinite bids and buy the dip, and so it seems kind of weird to short the market. However, there is a decent possibility that if we do rally up into the pre-market highs or the New York session highs around 100, if we do start to hesitate around here, we could turn around and come back and at least test 18,050 and just have a very choppy day, because to be honest, I think if we was going to rally, we would have seen it this morning. If not, maybe we have some type of pullback, very much like a rubber band, right? Where more often than not, we just don't keep running in one direction. A healthy market, we do have some type of a pullback, some type of consolidation before we have a strong breakout to one direction or the other. But yeah, what were you going to say? What's oil at? I'm an oil trader, and I've been looking for $80 a barrel, and it sounds like
it's 80.44. 80.44, so it just popped to 80.50. Like I said, I am
Crude
looking
back
for
up on the screen here for you.
Nice. So it does have room, like I said, to the average session high at 80.76. So that would be my turning point. There's nothing really here at this level at this point. We've gone through a supply that was previously reactive, that was lower with a high at 80.41. So we've smacked through that. Having said that, this is not a huge day. Somebody said in the chat, "Oh, huge day in crude oil. MD is not in." First of all, it's not a huge day. It's 128 ticks, right? We're in crude oil. We're usually working with NYMEX session range of about 180 to 250, 300 ticks. Anything around there, that would be a big day all in one direction. But as crude oil does, it, like Dobie says, it's violently range bound. So sometimes you get a 180 ticks range, but it's directionless. So it's extended that first hour of trading to both sides. And we have to obviously be a little bit mindful when we say, "Oh, it's a huge day." Just because it's a trending move, it doesn't mean that it's a huge day.
Yeah, and to that point, I mean, can you answer this question for me, D? Is the market open tomorrow?
What's happening
The
tomorrow?
market's open every single day, Monday through Friday, save for holidays,
Oh,
right?
yes,
And so
of
when
course.
people are
Yeah, I
always
was
saying,
like, is
"Oh, I
there a
can't believe you
holiday?"
missed this day. I can't believe you missed this
Yeah.
day." The market's
Exactly.
open again tomorrow. It's
Yeah.
okay if you miss a day. And by the way, you didn't. It's just one single day of trade in the many thousands of days that we'll be confronted with in our trading career. So
Exactly.
one day doesn't matter. And you folks out there that always get so hung up on one day or one move, and you let that FOMO hit you and you say, I missed this move in the NQ. I missed the move in Crude. I missed the move in the S&Ps.
Yeah.
It's okay.
just let
Relax.
it go.
Pump the brakes. Don't give in to
Exactly.
FOMO. It's
I do have a position in gold, though. I know we've been talking a lot about crude oil, but in the meantime, I have noticed that gold has bounced off the initial bounce high, which is the first hour of trading range. So they kind of went through it, and they're trying to stick away from that to kind of maybe go a little higher. So I've got a little trade on there. So it's a long from 21.52. So
on which market?
21
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Gold.
On gold.
GC.
Gotcha. Coming.
Yeah. So we'll see whether.
So
I
you
can
are
get a
long
little
from which level, please?
21.50.2.
Got it. Okay, so D is long 2150, spot 2. There we go.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, D.
Thank you.
Nice.
Dakota, any
Yeah.
trades? Talk to me, Dakota, please. Tell me we got some trades on. Any?
I was just reading this comment from one of the guys. These windows make us look like Brady Bunch, where I'm looking up to you guys, and then
I got you down there. I got
D's
D over here.
over to her right.
I'm enjoying this so much. And again, I can't thank you folks enough for tuning in here. We have D, Market Stalker D. We have Coach Dakota down here. I mean, this is just such a joy to share the stage with you both. I'm really enjoying myself here. We have about
Likewise.
50 minutes, 50 more minutes to go. And we will have Anne Marie here tomorrow. And maybe, I don't know, we could be so lucky to have D back on. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, it's been such a joy. We do have 50 more minutes to go left in the broadcast. We will be ending this broadcast at noon Eastern time, 11 Central time. So stick around for the next 50 minutes. Let's see if we have any more trades that are going to be coming out here. Dakota, talk to me. What are you looking for specifically here? Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for a pullback in the Nasdaq. I know that's actually counterintuitive. I am a perma bull. You could probably, yeah, you can see my charts. I am short the Nasdaq. If we break out, I'm just gonna take this loss. We did sell off. You guys can see. What chart are you looking at? We had this resistance. I got into a short. This is a little bit early, to be honest. The better entry would be to wait for this candlestick to close and find a 3-bar reversal. I'm okay with getting it in a little early. I might add to this position if we do start to show more resistance. If not, I'm going to close it out and just take this loss. But we've rallied up. We are right where we started out the New York session open. And so I'm looking to look for a pullback anyway. Just some really quick pullback, not a really big trade like this morning, so thinking that we're going to go all the way back down to 18,000. I mean, if we do, I'm okay to take advantage of it. Just maybe a test back down to some type of support. Like we do have a lot of resistance here that became support. So maybe, 18,070 in this zone somewhere is where I would be looking for a pullback.
Would you be adding to this
Nasdaq
position at all, Dakota?
So I'm in 2 contracts now,
which is very decent size. You folks out there that are always slinging 15 contracts are going crazy especially for swing trades. 2 contracts will get the job done, believe it or not.
Yeah, this is a big size.
A lot of damage with 2 contracts.
Absolutely right.
Especially on the Nasdaq and especially on the New York session, right?
Absolutely.
1 contract is big. 2 contract is even bigger. And if we do consolidate more here and we get a 3-bar reversal on the 5-minute, I could very well get into 3 contracts. But we might just break out and I might just get nailed on this one.
And that's okay. And we appreciate your transparency, Dakota. It's not easy to trade in front of. We have about 4,000 people that are watching the stream right now. It's not easy to trade in front of people. I do like the setup that you're looking at here, which is exhaustion. Just going over to my screen really quick here. The exhaustion setup that you're looking at, correct me if I'm wrong, is this air gap right here. You're looking for defense in this area up here to bring the market back down. Is that pretty accurate there?
Defense. Yep. I mean, essentially, we sold off in this area zone before, and we could very well sell off again. Like I said, am I early or am I late? Usually the first test is higher probability, so I probably could have, should have. Obviously, with hindsight, on the first test when we rallied up into there, and then we had that sell off, and now we're rallying up in here again. We will see. Like I said, I do have a stop loss. I have my mouse on the trigger to just close it out at market if we do push high. I'm looking at a 100 tick chart over here on the left hand side, but you can see the 5-minute chart. That's where a lot of my trade entries happen.
Going back to the chart
just
here,
hanging around the $18,100 level,
which is, by the
like
way, where the point of control has moved to. Looks like about 10 minutes ago, actually, just over 10 minutes ago. The point of control has moved now to 18,100.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna sit here, watch. If we do have more consolidation, and if we do start to break down, I will add to a third contract. I don't think I would be into 4 or 5. I don't have that type of confidence in this type of a trade. 3 contracts at max, and still 3 contracts is relatively big.
Yes. And you're taking this on nearly a $60,000 live account balance. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is live, guys. So whenever and let me show you here, so you guys see my chart. Like, this is my live account. When I place trades, I don't screw around because I'm spending my time trading and watching the market. And if I see a good setup, I want to get paid for it.
So I just took profits. I am in a combine, so I just took profits.
Let's go back to the gold chart here for you, D. If you want to walk us through the trade, I'm going to drop it to the 1 minute for you.
Yep. Excellent. So, I was looking at somewhat close to 21.55, but again, saw a little bit of a pullback there, so I pulled it off at 21.53.7 for a 1.3 R profit target, which was about 38 ticks. So that's pretty good. That puts me up on the day at about $552 times 3. That would be about 1.5K on the combines.
Nice job, D. What a great trade. Folks, drop a W in the chat for D's trade there. She gave that trade out very transparently there as just an epic trade.
So while everybody is criticizing my analysis in crude oil for the regular trading hours, I do this. So,
Got him. It's very easy to be a keyboard warrior out there. It's a lot harder to trade live in front of 4,000 people while fielding questions, while being a gracious guest. It's very difficult to do, folks. There you go. Exactly right.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. So hats off to D there for an amazing trade. Dakota catching a little bit of heat here on the NQ. I'm going to switch over to the NQ chart on my end here. What Dakota is looking for, I'm going to go back to the 15-minute, but what Dakota is essentially looking for is this area to be topping out here and be defended. And right now, we have the point of control wrestled up here at 18,100, so we are kind of capping out at this point of control. There is a potential that we can have another leg up here, but Dakota is trying to be early to the trade. He was asking the question a little bit early, a little bit too late, but we could definitely have a big flushacito here to the downside if we have the right words spoken by Powell here. He has been very, very dovish. We're getting close to the end of the Q&A. What you can tend to see is that if the market doesn't have any more information to go off of, it can either buy rapidly or sell rapidly. And since we've had this big V-shaped recovery, I'd be leaning towards that we would probably let go of a lot of these longs now that there's no more extra verbiage that Powell's going to spit out here that's going to say, well, markets are going to be doing tremendously here. Let's go to the north side. So we'll have to see how this unfurls here. Going back to your screen here, Dakota, if you want to walk us through kind of what your thought process is at this juncture.
That you've described it as good as it gets, right? We just rallied up here. We're kind of consolidating. I am a bit early, of course, with hindsight out of back of my mind. It would have been better to wait a little bit for that 3-bar reversal, which we kind of got here, and then I would have had a better pricing. We had that huge bearish candle, and maybe it was just me being a little trigger happy. But the risk reward is still the same. Of course, we always want to have better price after you get into a trade. And if it gives us a better price, we always wish that. And
but
anything can happen in the market.
Necessary. Yeah, it's not necessary. This whole idea that you have to have super tight stops and everything. That's not how I trade at all. I actually give about 30 to 35 ticks room for my trade to work out. And that gives me the chance to get out early if things are not working out the way I want them to. Do you do something similar, Dakota?
Yeah, I mean, the more I'm trying to think of how to word this. I see a lot of traders have such a tight stop loss, and they get stopped out, and then the market goes in the direction that they originally thought. That's the way it is, especially in the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ's one of those markets that it will do that. And so I'm sitting here watching it. And so I might be a little bit quiet when I'm trading. This is my first trade of the day. And like I said, it's my live account. And I am looking for this market to sell off a little bit. But anything can happen. We can break out and rally up 100 points. But to me right now it's all about probabilities and statistics. Could get a good 2-to-1 risk reward on this, or I could just take a loss. Like I said, I do lose probably 70% of my trades, which means I'm only correct 30%. But when I have those, higher risk reward trades.
Yeah, I'm curious if you have any kind of recent stats, and if you're trying to manage the trade and you don't want to answer these questions, totally fine. We can move on to something else. But I am curious on being such a lower win rate percentage, which is not a knock at you at all. There's plenty of multi-million dollar traders out there that have a 10% win rate or a 5% win rate where they're making their trades count because they're getting 20-to-1 or 18-to-1 on their very, very good trades. What is your general risk to reward that you're seeing on your trades that really play out for you?
Yeah, so it depends on what market I'm trading, and it also depends on what time I'm trading. Because if I'm in my slow markets class, I really want a good 3-to-1 or 4-to-1. When I'm in the New York session, I'm okay with getting a little bit less because I'm not holding trades for as long, and so I might not get as good of a risk reward. And then it depends, NASDAQ versus crude oil, or am I trading Nikkei? It depends how the volatility is, how the market's reacting, but essentially I treat them all the same. I look for very similar setups. I look for the same risk reward, knowing that I could run into a really ugly losing streak. But over the long run, because it's a marathon, not a sprint, that the statistics will work out. I always explain to traders, you could flip a coin 100 times, so every once in a while, you're going to run into like 3 or 4 times, you're going to get heads. It doesn't mean that the statistics changed, that the odds of flipping heads or tails has changed. It just means that you hit 3 heads in a row.
You can hit 100 heads in a row. I mean, you can hit 100 tails in a row. It can happen. It's variance. That's how it works.
There's something called the martingale strategy, right?
Good old martingale.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you could hit, say, 5, 6, 7 heads in a row. It's not going to say that the odds of landing on heads again is higher. No, the statistics still say it's 50-50. That's why a lot of people in Vegas, if our Topstep team is down there in Vegas, if you're playing roulette, if you keep betting on black, it doesn't mean that odds are increased the more times it has black in a row. The odds are still against you every single spin.
That's correct.
Funny you say that. There was one time that I went to a casino, like in Spain on a summer holiday, summer vacation, as you guys say. And we went to a casino just for fun. And we're like, yeah, let's play some roulette. And we put 5 tries on black. All 5 came out black. And I was like, nah.
Yes.
This is ridiculous. so I was like, we're never gambling again. Because it's just what are the odds that you're going to get black 5 times in a row? So if somebody was calling me lucky there earlier, and he doesn't stop that, he might get blocked. So yeah, if you think I'm lucky, I'm not bloody lucky, because I got 5 blacks in a row. And of course we were betting on red, right? So it's like, oh, this can't lose, possibly. Let's play the probabilities. We're both scientists. It's like,
yeah, and I see some feedback in here as well, and thank you so much for that feedback. That was wonderful. I see some questions here in chat talking about my stops are usually too tight. It kind of stops me out and this and that. Well, listen to what Dakota is saying, because it's so important. And also, D, markets will never, for the most part, you can almost count on, by the way, nice flush of Cito for you there, Dakota. You were taking a little bit of heat on your position. We are starting to see some downside move in the NQ there. But you will never and rarely see markets moving in a straight line. Markets are rarely ever going to move in a straight line. And furthermore, markets are rarely ever going to move in the directionality that you're seeking instantly. And because of spreads, almost 100% of the time that you put on a trade, you will be taking heat instantly. So you have to remember that this is a game where we're playing this, where we're trying to get the odds in our favor. So when you're putting on a trade and you're leaving your stop loss too tight and you're getting stopped out too often, find a way that you can open your risk and put risk on the table where your stop loss can make sense with the market structure and it can make sense on a monetary value and also give your trade enough room to work and breathe. A lot like what we've seen of Dakota here. I mean, he's been in this trade. He was taking heat. We had people talking smack in the chat, all this nonsense. But look at, here he is, cool as a cucumber, relaxed, stone cold like Iceman from Top Gun, managing this trade like a boss. And now we're getting that downside move that he got. And it's like, you know, maybe he was a little bit early to the trade, but that doesn't matter. He's calm, he's cool, he's collected, he's got his stop in place, he's letting it work, and he's letting the trade play out because he understands that markets don't move in a straight direction here. Maybe he'll be wrong eventually on the trade, maybe he'll be right. But like he said, you know, it's not about being right or wrong on the trades. It's about just letting them play out. And eventually the statistical odds will catch up with you if you're mapping out good trade plans and you're executing on those trade plans. So hats off to you, Dakota. Really well done. Keeping that trade in lockstep, sticking to your plan, not getting nervous about that trade, and just, you know, letting the market do its thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reality. Sometimes it sucks. And I do have, this is a hard stop just in case some, you know, if there was some dramatic news, it'll stop me out. I'm going to definitely close this out a lot sooner if it turns against me. I just don't like having my stop losses to where everyone can see them right next to where everyone else stacks it. It's just a weird thing for me. And if we do start to sell off, then I will trail it, and I'm okay with that. But like I said, I'm trading. Slow markets is a lot different than how I trade now. Slow markets, I will have my stop loss. I will go to bed. My stop loss runs. Fast markets right now, I can actually manage my trade. I'm looking at it. I will, you know, close it out if I need to, and then I could trail it. So I might not trail it visually to where you could see me move my stop loss, but I can trail it mentally in my head on a 100 tick chart and say, okay, if we cross this, we're going to close out. If we cross this, close it out. A lot of traders do that, but it's always good. Let's make sure we have a hard stop. So just in case something dramatic happens, it's unexpected. We don't blow an account, right? The last thing we would want is maybe I'm just not paying attention and pal's like, you know what, let's just decrease rates now. And then the market jumps 300 points and I'm just left with holding a short. So that's hard. Sometimes I'm a little bit slow in putting a hard stop in. Sometimes I'll have it coded. But I always have my mouse on the trigger to make sure I'm in or out. There's a big difference between live and simulated trading. You know that, Rips, where we don't get these beautiful, perfect fills. Yeah. If the market moves fast in one direction and you try and get out, you're just getting the next available price. Even though my stop loss says, you know, 18,122, and if some dramatic news event came out and it just jumped, I might get filled at like 140. Now, that has happened. And then I'm going to be, as much as big shout out to Prof Trader, who's been amazing here. Topstep support is actually one of the best supports I've ever had. But I know for a fact, if I call up Ninja Trader and say, hey, I had a stop loss at 122, what the heck? I need a reset or give me my money back. They're going to go tell me to take a hike. Say, you know what? The next available price was 140, 14140, send me a check because you're now getting a margin call.
Yeah. We want our money back.
Yeah.
It's very true. And, you're just talking through this again, very calm, cool, and collected. You have the balance to support this type of trade. The downside pull on this one, what would be your ideal realistic target? Obviously, price target would be 0 on the NQ. That'd be fantastic. But realistic price target here, what is it?
We're going for 0. Like I said.
By the way, sorry to interrupt. Euro close is coming in 2.5 minutes. Euro close in 2.5 minutes, folks.
Nice. Okay. So right around the 70 area, like I said, I really keep it so simple and basic. Support and resistance. We had resistance here. Resistance became support. We broke down, went through it. there could be a chance if we do sell off, maybe I could close out one contract here and then I trail the second one. I do like getting into multiple contracts, so I'm just not forced to say in and out, and this is exactly it. This gives me a little bit more flexibility, even though I am taking some more risk, right? Because 2 contracts is big for me. Even though there's a lot of traders who just tune into maybe Power Hour, watching traders online, where they're just so used to traders getting into like 10, 15, 45 contracts. What do they call it? It's maybe
YOLO trading.
Reality. No, it's something where you do something so often, or you see something so often, it becomes so normal to them. If they see something else, it looks too small or too big. It's like a skewed reality. Where you guys are so used to seeing 15 contracts, 10 contracts, these bigger contracts online. When you see 2 contracts, that looks really small. But in reality, 2 contracts is big. It's, desensitizing, conditioning, so that's the reality that I see a lot online and with traders is if I catch a 100-point sell-off, I'm making $4,000. We had a 100-point sell-off this morning, and with this exact same position, I would have made or lost to $4,000. That's huge. I don't know about
Mick,
you guys.
Mick was talking about that. Risk manager Mick. He said that he's got people who he talks to, and he's like, well, what do you think you're going to be averaging per day? And they're like, oh, $5,000. And he's like, right, so you're going to be making $1 million in a year? What?
Sounds about right.
Like, that's what it comes up to. No. Like, what? Really? So when do we get to a point where, $1,000 or $2,000 is not enough in profits, or 600, or for that matter, 250 per day? When did it get to a point where that's no longer enough? I worked in recruitment, IT recruitment, very briefly to kind of try and learn how to recruit better for our company. And I remember people effectively fighting for banking jobs that were going for like $500 a day. Like literally, like people would really want that job. And we're talking going into the office, working usually like, never mind 9 to 5. These jobs are like 12 hours a day. It's banking industry. So for somebody to come on and, they don't have experience, they sort of passed a combine, but now they're like going to go from 0 to hero. They're going to go from not making any money to making 5,000 a day. Come on, man, get real.
100%.
And also while we're talking about that, how are you with managing your personal finances? Because I see some people who come to me for trading, and I said, how are you in your life? Are you trading with scared money? Like, what's going on? Because I have to ask that question. And they usually go, oh, I'm in a terrible financial situation. And I was like, right. And what makes you think you're going to be a good risk manager and somebody who can make money as a trader? Like, come on.
It's very, very true. And I will say this, one of the cheat codes that you can have with trading is actually quite simple, and it's really easy to break down. You find a position sizing that works for you. And what do I mean by that? Find a way that you can get into a position where you're not immediately puckering up. That might be 1 lot for you. It might be 1 micro for you. It might be 1 mini for you. Maybe it's 5 minis. You find out that position sizing where you can actually put on the trade and you can sit there and you can manage the trade. Now, I'm not talking about micromanaging the trade. I'm talking about actually sit there and manage the trade effectively. That's how you find your sizing. When you know that you have too much sizing, only you're going to know that, but you know that feeling. You get puckered up all of a sudden, you get nervous. That's how you find your sizing. That's step 1. Step 2, stop focusing on the money, focus on the trade itself. You do those 2 things and you will inherently become a better trader overnight. Focus on those 2 things. Stop focusing on what your daily profit monetary goal should be, and focus on picking a lot size that works for you and focusing on taking really good trades. That's the pin code to the market right there.
There you go. And I seen that since I was talking about the coal mine, and I said I was right out of high school, right? Trading the coal mine. The coal mine were really good money. We was making, $30, $40 an hour with hazard pay. And, do that on a daily rate, a daily pay, $200, $300 a day, really good money.
Exactly.
Speaking of really good money, What is that? The NASDAQ flushing over there, Dakota?
Yeah, it is indeed.
I just looked over, and yeah, I mean, there's that's a daily salary right there.
Market is
Consistent,
flushing, by the way, because Powell does not know how to operate his microphone. I think he was tuning in early to the stream when I was having mic troubles myself and learning from me.
Oh man, mic cut out. Sell the market. Right?
It's crazy how fragile these markets can be, but we are coming down. Amazing, amazing trade here, Dakota. Got to give it up for you again. Just amazing, amazing trade. Folks, drop a W in chat. You saw that happen in real time. I saw some naysayers in chat. Don't be a naysayer. Be supportive. Be supportive of your fellow traders, even if you don't agree with their trading idea. This is a very difficult and lonely journey. The best thing that we can do as traders, as a community, is bring each other up. So let's work on that. Let's work on bringing each other up, even if you don't agree with the trade idea.
Or you could fade me and see how that works.
Beautiful, beautiful trade. We have Powell's mic is back on, by the way, there, Dakota.
Oh, that's why we're starting to see another bounce back. Gosh.
Yeah, it's going to go back.
That's
Yeah,
the true trading during the New York session, right?
Yeah.
There's a
Mike's
reason
on
why
the
you're
rally.
on that leaderboard, Dakota. I'll say it again. There's a good reason why you're on that leaderboard.
So yeah, we hit my first target. Like I said, it's not a solid target. I don't have a solid take profit. We flushed and we got there really quick. If there was any hesitation, maybe I took off one contract, but while we're flushing, no, I think I might get off one here in just a second, but that's an ugly looking candle. Now I'm seeing a little bit of buying, so I will get out one if we have another push to the downside. And then I'll let one contract run, because if we do have a 100-point sell-off, I'm in a position to take advantage of it. Because I see some question, Dakota, why are you not lowering your stop loss now? Like I said, I've been in this trade. I've sat in this trade for 5, 10, 20 minutes in drawdown. Once it starts going in my favor, I'm not in a hurry to get out of it. I'd rather sit into trades that are going in my favor a lot longer than I sit in trades that I'm going in negative. 20 minutes of being in negative, 5 minutes of going in positive. I'm not very excited to just hurry and get out of it. Of course, if it turns around and I take a loss, then yeah, with hindsight at my back, I'll be like, dang it, I wish I would have just closed out of it. But no, that's not how I trade. Like I said, I hold trades a little bit longer than the average trader here that I've seen at Topstep. There's nothing wrong. And we're getting that pullback now. Pal's mic was fixed.
That's what I'm telling you. I mean, this stream got better when we fixed the mics here. I guess the same goes for Pal's speech here.
Did you ever find why it was actually lowering your volume?
I did. I finally nipped that in the bud, and we're going to be good to go for the future live streams that we have on here for Thursday and Friday. By the way, folks, if you're just tuning in now and you're wondering, who are these three amazing people on my Topstep TV stream right now? I'm Rips, that's D, and of course, Coach Dakota below us here. We are doing a Topstep TV takeover. Myself and Dakota are going to be taking over the channel for tomorrow and Friday as well. We are going to be starting the stream at 8 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So I hope that you'll join us again there. We do have another 25 minutes to go on our session here. I am curious if you'd like to drop, where can people find you, D? How can people find you and get in touch with you? Because I saw a lot of people in chat here that were buzzing with interest about your trading technique and what you're talking about in the way of psychology.
Thanks. So the best way is my YouTube channel, which is Market Stalkers. I can put that in.
Would love to see a link in chat here.
So let me just try and grab a link. I can never remember whether it's HTTP or HTTPS.
It's always the S.
YouTube.
You always want the S.
Now, okay, because it used to be without it many moons ago when I was first on YouTube, which was a very long time ago.
I remember in high school, it was a S means it's safe or it's secure.
Yes,
yeah,
it's secure.
Yeah, it's secure. Yeah. All right, so it is in the chat.
Okay, great. So, folks, in the YouTube chat, you can see Market Stalker D with the blue gear icon there. Drop the link. Go ahead and go over to that channel. Do us all a favor here. Please subscribe to her channel. Show your support. She's been here, such an amazing, amazing guest on our makeshift Topstep TV show here. So show some appreciation, show some love. Go like some videos. Go drop some comments on some of her videos and make sure you tune in. Do you live stream on that channel, D?
I do. I used to live stream every day. Now I've gone down to just once a day. Once a week. I am thinking about going back to that at some point, but it just depends on my time and schedule and all of that. Because obviously I'm on Topstep quite a bit, and I just need to find a way how to fit all of that in without it affecting me too much.
Yeah, people don't realize how tough this is. A lot. Yeah, this is quite a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah, I know. It's very enjoyable. I love what I do, but after doing daily live streams for almost 3 years, it literally nearly put me in the ground because, it's a lot. You have to concentrate. There's like questions to answer, especially when you're doing it by yourself. Rips, you do your live streams.
Yep.
I don't know how you do it all yourself. It's like super admirable. I've been there and you're really good at it. It's amazing. But there's so many things to think about. And then sometimes, I want to change the scene. And then I forget to put it back on my actual charts. And then I'm talking about charts. And people are like, D, you haven't changed it to the chart. And I'm like, oh, of course not.
It happens.
I don't have a producer.
You trade the New York session or the London session on your live stream?
New York session. Yeah, most of my students and viewers are from the States, although I have a few of them from London. Actually, a couple of them live not too far from me. So we do go for coffee sometimes. That's pretty cool. Very fun. And, we get to talk shop and everything. And I love talking shop. I love the markets. This is like my huge passion in life. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. So obviously having that outlet to the community that's also interested in the stuff that we like to talk about here, that's amazing. But at the same time, it is a lot of work, guys.
100%.
So obviously at some point, I want to get back to near daily streams. But for now, it is once a week. It used to be on Thursdays, but again, because of my schedule and stuff, I decided to change that for Tuesdays. So you can find me live Tuesdays at 10:15 a.m. CST. So I usually stream for about 90 minutes somewhere, so sometimes longer, depends on what's happening. But I decided to move it to Tuesday because I can then do the live stream and then go do market stalking with D here on Topstep TV, and it kind of just ties into whatever I was doing on the live stream a lot better. So yeah, so go check it out. There's a lot of useful long form videos on there as well. I actually stopped doing the long form videos because YouTube algorithm just doesn't seem to recommend them anymore. So I'm kind of thinking about a strategy change there, and we'll let people know what that's going to be going forward. But yeah, it just became a little bit pointless me doing long form videos and then just getting 900 views, when before I used to do some SEO keywords and all of that, and I used to get Google rankings. So I used to get literally thousands and tens of thousands of views just on the back of that. That's not happened in a while. So I just need to kind of learn a little bit more about it and just change the strategy.
Those long form videos are a lot of work too.
Yeah, I know, man. I was going around with a vlogging camera, and doing car wash, and it was a lot of fun. But again, it's a lot of work. I don't have a team that does that for me. I like doing it myself. I'm a bit of a control freak when it comes to what I want my videos to look like. So I tried having an editor once, and then he was just making fun of me. He was putting weird things. So he came across really cheesy
very
and corny.
strange.
And I'm like, what the hell are you doing, man? I didn't hire you to make fun of me. I wanted to put a bit of humor into the whole, talking about the markets. And I think I do that side better. So I need to find somebody who can be on the same page. But in the meantime, it's all me, guys. So bear with me while I figure out what to do.
That's awesome. Yeah, I wanted to do my own. Sorry, Rips.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, folks, make sure you do go back and get that link in the chat there for the Market Stalkers YouTube channel. And if you missed the link, it's just youtube.com/Market Stalkers. youtube.com/Market Stalkers. That's how you can find D. Go ahead there, Dakota.
Yeah, traders, we do have to support each other. And to be honest, our goal is to, and from my understanding, from what I know about yourself, D, is we really want to help other traders out.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do my own YouTube channel, and it really is a lot of work. So hats off to both of you guys. You know, I see you doing your YouTube and then your market clubhouse rips, and I just, oh man, I would not want to do that. I'm a trader, and that's enough for me. And I also do I'm a director for a supply chain company, and I enjoy helping traders out. And so Topstep's like, yeah, do you want to do slow markets on YouTube? I'm like, that's gonna be a lot of work. They're like, don't worry, we'll do most of the work for you. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? Actually, yes. Let's give it a try. Let's see how it is. I did what I want, and let's try and reach a bigger audience outside of Discord. And that's enough for me right now, because I'm reaching the audience. I'm here for you guys. Here we are again on TopstepTV TakeOver while the team's in Vegas, and we've been having close to 4,000, 36 to 4,000 viewers, which is awesome. So I love being here with you guys, talking shop, trading. I'm still in this short NASDAQ. It's not much is going on.
Taking a little heat, getting a little relief, taking a little heat, getting a little relief, kind of back and forth. Markets are not moving in a straight line. Shocker, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would love it if they moved in a straight line. Then it would be simpler. But like, this is another example of I could go take a nap, and I would be perfectly fine on letting this trade play out. And I love watching the chat, right? Dakota, get out. Let's ride this to the moon together, man. Some traders being bullish, some traders being bearish, but this is the trade setup. It's still valid. We haven't broke to where I believe the trade's still valid. I'm still short.
Rips,
it's going to be valid until I get stopped
asking
out.
about your YouTube channel as well. So
sure. Yeah, so here, the Topstep account is going to post my YouTube channel. And there it is. So I'm over at Market Clubhouse right there on YouTube. I would appreciate it if anybody is enjoying the stream out here. It's very helpful if you go and you sub to the channel there, drop a couple likes or comments, whatever you want to do. But I go live every single morning there at 8 o'clock Eastern time. I usually stream for about an hour or 2 hours there. And I do live trading just like what you saw on here. And, I either do momentum trading, we'll do a little swing trading, long-term trading. We've been doing pretty well lately. We had a couple swings that we did overnight where, back to back. It was 2 Fridays ago. That's a trade that I brought to Fast Markets with MP. I did that trade for about $6,000. And then overnight last night, we did about an $11,000 trade in the XFA. So it was a lot of fun. So if you do enjoy this style of trading, this type of stuff, it's always good to have more fresh faces in there in the live streams in the morning. It's a lot of fun. So thanks for that.
It's great fun. I've popped in there a few times. It's a lot of value, a lot of fun. So definitely check it out.
Oh, appreciate that.
I spent some time in there too with you, Rips.
Yeah, I love whenever I see folks coming in through the chat and give you folks a shout. I love it. And speaking of shout outs, we have Danielle. We've had Danielle in chat. We've had Coach Jay. Who else have we had? We had Prof Trader in here. Who else did you folks see? I saw Andre kind of making an appearance. We saw Hoagland earlier. Yeah. So what's up to all the top steppers out there in Vegas? Good to have you folks watching here, and really appreciate you folks trusting us with the keys to the kingdom here as you folks are enjoying.
Are they awake yet? Because they probably
they are.
I'm
gonna message some of them and see if we could get some pictures or something. We gotta have some updates that we can give.
They were gonna do stuff on Instagram, but I haven't seen anything.
It's the TopstepTV Instagram, by the way, Instagram.com/TopstepTV, one word. Anne Marie was here as well, which, by the way, folks, Anne Marie should be joining us tomorrow on the Coach Dakota and RIPS takeover. And maybe if we're so lucky, maybe we'll have Dee again if she has the time for us. Maybe we can have Dee stop by again. We've just had so much fun today, and I really am looking forward to the next few streams. Yeah. That would be awesome.
And you guys are doing a great job. RIPS, you're amazing. I know you had some issues initially, so it's like, it's not going to happen. But no, you actually took it in your stride, and you managed to, grapple with the extra pressure and all the technical difficulties and stuff. So that's so difficult. So we do appreciate you. So thank you so much for being here. And Dakota, your deadpan face is like forever entertaining. You're an awesome trader. So thank you guys for letting me share the stage with you.
All right, Dee. Well, so we'll catch you. Coach Dakota and I are going to close out the show here pretty soon. So we'll catch you on the next episode here. I really appreciate you joining us. And again, folks, youtube.com/marketstalkers, youtube.com/marketstalkers. That's how you can find Dee. And also on Twitter. What's your Twitter handle so people can follow you over there?
Oh, Yeah, it's Pip_Raider. That's a
Pip_Raider.
old,
Let's see
yeah,
if we can put that
very
in
old
here.
username.
An old
So-
Forex trader? Is that what I
That's
hear?
right. I started in Forex 16 years
So
ago.
did I.
Oh, really?
I
What did you
spent some
trade?
time in there.
Let's see if we can.
I
I'm
was
going to try to drop a link
actually,
here.
if you believe this or not, I did some coaching for a prop firm here in Utah, and they traded Forex.
Right. I did Euro-dollar for 5 years. That was the only thing
Hmm.
I did.
There we go. So twitter.com/Pip_Raider. I dropped that in the chat there under the Top Step name. So yeah, please go follow Dee out there. She is an amazing follow. We follow each other, of course, and
Yes.
she is always posting great things. So go ahead and follow her on Twitter. So with that, thank you so much, Dee, for joining us. I really appreciate you being here. And yeah, reach out to me if you're available either tomorrow or Friday. We would love to have you back here.
Yep.
And folks, please drop a W here for Deanna for stopping by with us. Really, really appreciate that. So we'll see you next time, Dee. Thanks again for sticking around with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Catch
Bye.
you then. See ya.
All right, Dakota and I are looking to close out the stream here. Any parting words here, Mr. Coach Dakota? Do you have any parting words for us whatsoever?
I'm gonna go take a nap. It's nap time for me. I 3 hours went fast, to be honest.
100%.
Yeah, this is fun. Hopefully I could get some more sleep tomorrow and then be a little bit more awake. No, thanks everybody for joining. Like I said, maybe tomorrow we'll get some updates from the team in Vegas. We could have a little bit more fun. I have some fun stuff that I'll be chatting about. I'll do our own little segment of Market Tap. I don't know. I'll find something fun for us. All day today, one trade is all I took, and it's just going to the right.
Good old going to the right. That's the guarantee that we have in the markets. It will always go to the right. If it's going to the left, you're probably standing on your head.
Yeah, something. I could flip my computer monitor up, down, or whatever direction. Yeah, and maybe this is a good point, because I think maybe this is a quick learning. Something to talk about, because yeah, I've been sitting in this trade for a while now, right? 20, 30 minutes. And I was only in profit for a quick 5 minutes, which kind of sucks. And we always have that feeling of, oh, I wish I could have just closed it out. That's always the case. There's always going to be, I wish I could have done this. I wish I could have done that. That's the reality of trading. If as traders, we should always have that feeling of we could have done something better. If not, then something's really wrong in terms of we're not going to catch everything. We're not going to catch the perfect move. Other than I could call it out and not trade it like this morning. But yeah, you're always going to have some type of feeling of unsatisfaction. That's just typically how it goes. At least that's how it goes for me. That's how I've seen it go for a lot of traders is you always feel unsatisfied in the market. It's very much like anything. But yeah, I might be just getting out of this trade now. We'll see if it's going to hit my stop loss. So
yeah, we're getting something out of Chairman Powell here on this push up. Before we part ways, I do want to see if we can see this through. Tesla got a price upgrade from Morgan. Price target now 320. Tesla's trading at 177. Oh, a little slight target change there. Looks like it could be a potential liquidity grab here up to our level. Just going over to my trading view screen here, we had that level at 118.50, and we dang near smacked that level in the face. We'll see if we get continuation through that. Yeah, Powell said he's buying the dip. That was the latest out of Powell. But we came in, we rejected right off that 118.50. So we'll see if that was just a liquidity grab here to the top side, and then we can venture. It's
just
back
the market chop. Like, oh well. Like I said, I'll just see what happens with this trade. I already accepted this as a loss, so maybe that's something to say. I've accepted this as a loss. I might go take a nap and just see how this trade plays out. Not too big of a deal. So. All right, guys, I will catch you tomorrow. Or we have 9 minutes left, but
Well, I feel like this is a good place to wrap the show today. I really do appreciate everybody here in chat. If you want to follow Coach Dakota, you're going to have to tune into his YouTube stream on slow markets. If you want to follow me, like I said, I dropped my YouTube earlier. If you want to follow me on Twitter as well, let me go ahead and drop that link here in the chat. If you ever want to follow me on Twitter, it's @SellingRips, just like that. You can find me there, and all of my socials are my link in my bio there, and you can follow me there if you wish. And I do appreciate everybody tuning in today. Thank you so much, Dakota, for coming out. And folks, be safe out there. There's still plenty of day left to trade. I'm definitely going to be taking a break from here. I'm finishing up my day up $3,858. About 3,000 of those dollars are in my XFA account. We will be back again tomorrow at 8 a.m. Central Time and 9 a.m. Eastern Time to be trading live again. We'll trade the open together, and we'll see if we can put on some advantageous trades together. So I look forward to joining you all again tomorrow. Please show up early so we can all see if we can catch some trades maybe in the pre-market here. Tomorrow we will have more testimony out from Jerome Powell. In this case, it's going to be towards the Senate versus he's in the House right now. So we're going to see probably the same opening statement, but the Q&A is what's going to matter, of course. And then on Friday, we'll be back again to trade the non-farm payrolls print together. So appreciate you all coming out here, and we will see you all tomorrow at 8 a.m. Take care.